Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week in Brookfield Township, Ohio, a search for a missing person turns into a search for a body, which turns into a search for body parts. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us again on another crazy, wild, out-of-control edition of Small Town Murder. We really do appreciate it. First of all, I want to thank everybody for the reviews this week. Very important, and we don't know why. We don't understand it. That purple icon, Apple Podcasts, if you could do it, give us 5 stars. It helps a lot on the business end, helps drive us up the charts, gets you noticed, and that does good things for the show. Doesn't matter what you say. You can type whatever you want in there, following instructions, following directions. It's dark in here right now, and they won't let me leave until I type this. It doesn't matter.
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. Whatever you want to say is great. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for right now for all of your small town murder, all of your crime and sports needs. And listen to Crime and Sports if you haven't. It's just, we're on a run of really wild stuff. So if you like funny things, you should listen to Crime and Sports. You don't have to like sports. I can assure you of that. Yeah. Also, get your tickets to live shows there. That is very important. The one's coming up right away here in the next month. February 7th and 8th is sold out in Denver and Salt Lake City. But the next week, February 15th and 16th, we're in Indianapolis and Louisville. Get your tickets right now. And then the next month in March, we're in San Francisco for the 13th and the 14th. 2 late shows.
Right.
So cool. I think they're 10 o'clock.
San Francisco?
10 o'clock comedy club. Oh
love it.
It's going to be amazing. That's going to be fun. We're going to be.
Do it.
It's going to be. I'm going to have a full evening at the dispensary by then. It's going to be wonderful.
We're at the Fisherman's Wharf, eating everything that swims in the sea.
Everything that you can pull out that's shelled or unshelled. We'll be eating that stuff.
I'm gonna get so sick.
We can't wait. We can't wait for that. So do that. Also, if you want to be bigger, just a hero of ours. I mean, these are our producers. We're going to read a long list of their names at the end of the show, and they're really our heroes. They're our producers. They keep the show going. You can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeandsports or head over to PayPal and use our email address, which is crimeandsports@gmail.com, and listen to Crime and Sports as well based on that. Now, we have to do the disclaimer here quickly, but we're going to put a little extra something into it here. This is a comedy podcast.
It is.
It's a comedy show. That is the crux of this thing.
Right.
There is murder involved. Okay. The stories are true. There's nothing embellished. There's nothing to make it funny or anything like that. We tell murder stories and then we make jokes.
Right.
So that's the show. Right. Generally, if you don't think that's a good thing for a show, you shouldn't listen to this show.
No.
You think true crime and comedy should never go together, and it should be a very, straight, and then he cut her head off, and then a very straightforward reading, then this is not the show for you.
Oh.
We are going to be respectful.
Yep.
We try our best to be respectful. We're not here we don't want to hurt anybody.
No.
That's one thing we don't want to do. And lately it's come up, a couple people have been hurt by it, and we don't want to hurt people.
No.
That's not what we're trying to do. Honestly, we go out of our way not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families. We are assholes, but we're not scumbags.
That's true.
But the thing is, you have to understand a couple of things, okay? This is the way the show works. I do the research, and I bring the story in.
Yeah.
When I sit down and I say, Jimmy, you don't know this yet, we're going to be in Ohio today. Yeah. You didn't know that before. He looks at me and goes, Ohio, okay. He doesn't know the story beforehand. So when we tell a story, when we're leading up to a murder and there's a bunch of crazy things happening and people are running around with swords or people are, calling people scarlet whore beasts or something, Jimmy doesn't know who's going to be murdered.
No.
So I'm just telling him, here's a bunch of characters doing weird things or crazy things. So Jimmy's just making jokes on whatever's presented to him. Yeah. He has no way of knowing who the victim's going to be and then to not make fun of them ahead of time.
I can't single them out.
That would also kind of tell you what the story is going to be. Now, we could do the show different, where I could tell Jimmy the whole story and he could know not to make fun of, and then it wouldn't be the same show and it wouldn't be funny. So if you'd like that, or once in a while, we might make a mistake like that where before the murder happens, Jimmy, more than likely, because he doesn't know the story. Well, because you don't know the story, not because you're likely to say something shitty about somebody. I'm honestly probably more likely to say something offensive about someone directly. Right. But you don't know the story. So if you accidentally end up saying something about someone who later on in the story becomes a murder victim, we can't help that. And we're
after
sorry.
That point,
and we do apologize for that. And once we do know who it is, it's as respectful as can be. Right. Nobody deserves to be murdered for anything. That's our stance. There are people, some of our murderers might need it, but other than that, nobody, no matter what they do in the story, that sounds like, oh, that's crazy behavior, and we might go, Jesus, why'd that person do that? Right. That doesn't mean we think they should die, or we think they're bad people, or we think that their families aren't important or don't deserve to mourn them or anything like that. It's just what happens, and this is the world we live in. We can't bring any of these people back to life. Right. We'd love to. Right. We can't. Right. So what we can do is life is for the living, and we're going to try to entertain everyone who's alive.
I almost guarantee that there was somebody at a children's beauty pageant where somebody probably called little John Bonet a bitch because she won and beat her
something
kid.
And that's what I mean. It happens.
She's dead, and now what?
If that sounds okay to you, and that's what it is, then great. We're gonna have an awesome time, and we're gonna have a fun show. And if not, take a hike. But if you're here for that, I think it's time. I think it's time to sit back and shout, "Shut up and give me murder." Let's do this.
Great.
Let's go on a trip, Jimmy.
I'd love it.
What do you say? We're going to Ohio, like I've previously
You've said that.
mentioned to you. I blew the surprise. We're going to Brookfield Township, Ohio.
That's a lot.
That's,
Winchesterton, Fieldville.
Townton. It's in northeastern Ohio, Brookfield Township, headed toward kind of that point where it goes to the lake there. It's panhandle. It's going toward the panhandle. And there is, oh boy, this is Ohio's panhandle from what I've gathered just in this.
Seems like as you get near those big lakes up there, it gets a little dicey.
If it's
not a big city, it gets dicey.
It's a lot of shit that used to be a ton of industrial shit that then went out of business. And now it's You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little more depressed than it used to be. It's got some, things deteriorate quite a lot. And, neighborhoods, the home values plummet, and then people flee, and then, half the neighborhood's empty. And it turns into, shooting galleries and fucking crack houses and shit. So
flying from Milwaukee to Chicago, I flew over that section.
The wreckage of
it's pretty bleak out there.
It's there's some bleak stuff going on.
And that's waterfront property.
That's what I mean.
Bleak as fuck.
That water is barely water. It doesn't have it's thick like syrup. I don't think it has the properties of water.
It's a little viscous.
It wouldn't put out fire, put it that way. It would probably only make it worse. It'd make it worse. Like throwing like on a grease fire. Yeah. What happened? Jesus. It's flammable. So
make it worse.
This is about an hour and 15 minutes to Cleveland, about an hour and 15 minutes to Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Right smack in the middle of Cleveland and Pittsburgh. That's right there. By the way, we'll be in Cleveland. Where are we in Cleveland here? At Hilarities, I know. We're in Cleveland, I think, over the summer or some shit like that. I don't remember where the fuck we're. Oh, it's in November. That's right. Jesus. And then the day before that, we're in Pittsburgh also. Great. So there we go in November.
The snowy time.
3 hours and 30 minutes to Logan, Ohio, which is our last episode on Ohio, episode 108, which was February of 2019.
What the shit? That's a long time ago.
It's been a while. This is in Trumbull County. There is another Brookfield Township, Ohio, which is on the other side of the state in Noble County.
You don't get to do that.
No, you don't. And it happens apparently Ohio it's a big deal. There's a ton of double named
There's
towns.
2 Toledos?
Not 2 Toledo, like these townships.
Okay.
There's different ones. Because you look up some of the townships, because I had to do research on 3 different towns for this because I kept getting it wrong. They're all next to each other, but where it actually occurred, I ended up finally finding it here. But yeah, there's a ton of different ones. Zip code 44403, area code 330 and 234, 24.7 square miles. This is a big area. Yeah. It's a bigger area, bigger than most of the towns around here. Their motto here on their website is, quote, developing a community for our children's children. They're looking forward.
Yeah.
At least they're not just like, a fun place to work and play. Like,
for right now.
Live and play. Yeah. For our children's children. Fuck tomorrow. Things are good.
Yeah.
Drive a Hummer. Yeah. Or I found the alternate one, and this is kind of what the locals know it as, quote, where Pittsburgh smells and Cleveland smells come together. Which is
this is a wall from either end.
You really want to come together over here? Yeah, that's definitely Cleveland over there. It smells like exhaust jizz on this side. That's Cleveland.
Exhaust jizz. And captive people in homes.
People. Pittsburgh is a little coal dusty, but there's also like some French fries mixed in there, which makes it smell delicious to me.
There's an air of positivity in that.
Yeah, there really is. No, Pittsburgh, their food, they're into it, and I like it there.
That's
for that.
rusty success. That's what that is.
That's what we call that. It's the Rusty Medina success. So, history of this town. The whole area was because this is by like a Vienna township and a Mazaries over to the east of this a little bit. There's all these different towns crammed in right next to each other. The county is a square, and all the towns are squares within the county.
Oh,
like a grid, exactly like a quilt. The county is a quilt, and so they're all right.
Homeland.
They're all right there. Yeah, there's no
Middle America.
There's no it doesn't look gerrymandered at all, where it's like that's part of the town, but we cut that part out. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then we did that. None of that shit.
All right.
So it's just squares.
Like a giant AIDS quilt.
It's a giant. That's the best way to describe it. A giant exhaust jizz quilt. It's fucking perfect here.
All right.
Now, these people, I love this. In 1801, in the town next to it, Vienna Township, the 1801, the resident heads of households in Vienna, I just love these names. Yeah. They're Isaac Flower, Levi Foote, James Foster, Samuel Hutchins, Daniel Humison, Dennis Palmer, Apentius Rogers. I'm sorry. Epinitas Rogers. Epinitas.
I'm going to say these are like the first American colonial names, and then you throw in like a Greek.
Another Isaac. There's 3 Isaacs, and Epinitas, a bunch of 2 different Samuels, a Simon. It's very.
What do you go by? Do you go just by like fucking Ned?
Eps.
Epinitas.
EP. Yo, EP, what up?
What a ridiculous name.
I'm Epimetheus, motherfucker.
Oh,
it's got to be biblical or some shit, I imagine.
Is that Greece? Is that
Epimetheus 4427. You don't know that one, Jimmy? It's where Pittsburgh smells and Cleveland smells come together. That's the psalm, I believe.
Epimetheus.
Epimetheus.
Sounds like a god or
the
something.
Book of Epimetheus.
Yeah.
You don't know that one? No. Jesus Christ. There probably is one. We're just completely ignorant of religion and we don't know
or
shit.
It's like a Zeus's son or some shit.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Zeus's son. That's fucking great. This area, the first post office wasn't established until like the 1870s around here. Mm-hmm. It's very strange. They had grist mills and saw mills and shit like that, when it first started. I guess in the 1830s is when things really became more industrialized. There was a blast stove moved into the area.
What is that?
I don't know.
A blast stove?
A blast stove. I assume that's
it burns
like
really hot?
Like a kiln,
yeah.
I guess.
I could see that, yeah.
Like that sort of thing. You finalize things probably for metals and I don't fucking know. That's all I can assume.
Or it's like a superheater for
coal. It does something with coal, maybe.
Maybe they make gold with it.
That's like it turns coal into gold quickly. We've really made a whole side story on this. So they were making coal into gold. Very quickly, the town became a bunch of Scrooge McDucks, basically, diving into big piles of coins.
Everybody changed their name to Epimetheus.
Yeah, Epimetheus, and you know how it goes. In 1838, coal mines were, quote, discovered, which is not really discovered.
No.
Coal deposits are discovered.
Right.
The mines
were made, and you force people to
hey, there's a hole in the
ground.
ground. Holy shit, there's rails and cars. Just throw the coal in and we'll pull it out. This is easy. It's all set up already. That's not how that works.
We've discovered it.
We discovered it. This is great. They had coal mining production increases between 1860 and 1890 for the war effort and everything like that. A rate of up to 350 to 400 tons of coal mined daily.
Wow.
It's a lot of coal, I guess, and especially before you had you didn't have trucks and shit back then.
You don't have machinery to carry that
This
shit.
is like men with pulleys going, we'll use physics to get the coal up.
Keep pulling, pussy.
Well, yeah, there's a point where if we hit there's a fulcrum. Fucking fulcrum, set it up.
That's a fucking discovery.
Yeah, so first coal mine opened in 1866. That was in Vienna there. In 1877, 18 miners were killed due to the burning of a new coal that produced methane gas.
Oh,
and they didn't realize that. Oh, yeah, this is bad. I think that's why they were like, maybe a canary.
Maybe a bird? Maybe we'll leave something in there.
We'll see if a bird dies. If it comes back, we're cool, right? Okay. So the first automobile didn't come till 1905 around here. The Brookfield population in this town grew up pretty steady up until 1869, and it reached its peak of population then, and then started a decline. So the peak of this town was 1869. Mm-hmm. That tells you a lot, sort of thing. So in terms of when it was really relevant. So
before penicillin.
Oh wait, Jesus, 100 years before penicillin.
That's the craziest
Christ
part.
Almighty! Before World War I.
They peaked.
Yeah, they peaked.
Their grace was 200 years ago.
Before Grant was president. Jesus Christ,
that's a long time ago.
Joshua Potts started a whiskey making business in the area of 5 Points, and it got popular. And the township was known as the whiskey capital of the nation.
Really?
For a while, they had 22 distilleries in the township in the 1880s. Mm-hmm. 22. From the 20s to the early 30s, it was known as Little Canada for some reason here. Now, there was a lot with all these distilleries and all these coal mines, so you have a lot of booze and a lot of coal miners. Yeah. What do you think happens when you get booze and coal miners?
Nothing fucking good.
Deadwood happens, basically.
Yeah.
They were mining for gold, but it's the same thing.
Yeah,
if you get people who are willing to take a chance literally digging into the fucking land to see what they can pull out with their bare hand.
And then at night, they're getting fucked up to kill the pain?
Oh, boy, yeah. Prostitution, murders everywhere, gambling houses everywhere. There was 7 large stills operating in the township and 6 of what they called houses of ill repute.
I like that
That's
place.
basically the gem saloon there with, you can gamble, you can drink, you can have ladies, get a steak.
Party with some broads.
Your horse hooked up with some shit. It's a... Yeah, John Dillinger was a local resident here for a while.
Is that right?
Who, used to hang out around here, frequented the Green Parrot Bar for card games.
That guy keeps coming up in our lives.
He comes out in the Midwest. He's all over the Midwest here. So problem is, though, this in a nearby Vienna center and Vienna Township, there was all of these things where it was just chaos in the streets. Yeah. So there's always a backlash. So that started a big temperance movement, which is eventually what led to prohibition. Is the craziness of this era made all the women get together and go, I am sick of my fucking husband coming home and beating the shit out of me and, doing crazy shit.
Pushing his dirty dick in my face.
Are you tired of that too? Right. I said, yeah. They said, so they got together. This was when women used to go, groups of society women in dresses with fucking parasols and shit, would go to bars, go into bars, saloons that were all men. Women weren't even allowed in there. They'd all walk in and start fucking breaking it up. They'd just start smashing shit, and they were like, what are you going to do? And everybody just stood there. What are they going to do? Punch these fucking society ladies back then? But now they would. Back then they were like, what do we do? So they would break all their shit. And that was that. They would force them to close. They would shame them, break their shit. It was crazy.
That's why women think they can still do that shit when they break up with us.
Well, they do. Yeah, they can. That's the thing. They do whatever they want.
They do it. They get away with it.
They can do whatever they want. Right. They have all the vaginas. There's nothing we can do about it. If you like women, you should. That's the thing about guys. Guys, I'm going to give you a tip out there.
That's the thing about guys.
If you like ladies, you should try to make them happy.
Hey there. You
should try to make them enjoy being around you. Then they'll like you. Why? And then they'll want to be around you more. It's pretty fucking cool, actually. It's pretty awesome. So you should try that one rather than, other means.
Making them fucking hate you?
Things like that. So, trying to dominate or trying to play like a weird,
Yeah, what? Don't try to be a caveman.
I don't get it.
That's not what works.
That shouldn't, anyway.
That'll get you in jail. It works for some things, yeah.
So the Idlewild Amusement Park opened here in 1900, and it was destroyed in 1913 by a flood. So everything's floods and fires in the Midwest. Everything was destroyed from 1900 to 1915. When it was open, it had a dance hall, a Ferris wheel, canoe rides. Wow. They had all this shit. Then they opened the Yankee Lake Ballroom in 1928, and that was for bands and dancing, and that's still open today, apparently.
Really?
This play, I don't know if it's still called that, but the place is still open as a ballroom here.
I love those places.
Yeah, so apparently this whole area became more of an agricultural area after the mining kind of went away because that's not sustainable. Right. This whole area sounds like it's Nothing But Trouble. That movie, Nothing But Trouble, where it's like a burnt out
junkyard.
Well, those were the coal mines, and watch out because the town can collapse sometimes, and fires can come from the bowels of the earth and shoot out through a hole when you least expect it. Yeah, it seems like, I know it's not, but the late 1920s is when the population started coming back from that. It going down initially here. And that was immigrants. That was mainly Italian immigrants, basically, and people of that nature. Southern and Eastern, the unwanted immigrants. The German and Irish are all here, and they're like, oh, now who the fuck is coming now? Oh, Jesus Christ.
People willing to do awful things, though.
You smell garlic? I smell garlic. It was all my relatives. They hated them. So.
But it's fascinating what a downtrodden group of people, when they're leaving their homeland, somewhere that they know everything, and going somewhere new, it's fascinating how hard they will work to
that's how shitty it was there.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
That's a good point.
We're talking the 1920s. Italy was a fascist country. Fucking Mussolini was in charge. Yeah. I'm working a fucking mine. Great. Who cares? It's better than this. It's better than the men having to run to the hills or be killed by Mussolini, which is what
bananas.
Fucking happened. It's nuts. So there was a lot of and these people, they had farms, and also they worked in the steel mills because Youngstown isn't far from here. Okay. So there were steel mills there, and also in Sharon, Pennsylvania, which is nearby, and that'll come up big in our story today as well.
An enormous amount of Ohio is agriculture.
It's a lot. There's a lot of it is farm.
I'm shocked by it.
You don't think of it like that because there's a lot of cities in Ohio. There's Toledo, there's Dayton, Cleveland, fucking Cincinnati, and
the weather
all over the place.
The weather is horse shit.
Oh, it's a terrible.
I don't know how they grow fucking anything.
I don't understand.
They grow
cold
shit
all the time.
Fucking right
now. It must be quick. It's going to be cold in 2 weeks. Get it going. Let's go.
Let's go.
Shit just sprouts right up.
It's out.
They hustle down there.
Yeah, and then fucking harvest it.
It's a harder working agriculture down there. That's what it is. A harder working crop. The crops, no, they need to work. They're immigrant crops, you see. They came over here. They came over and they knew they had to work harder.
Wherever they're at, they got a dictator that's a bastard.
Pocket full of pasta, as we've said before, and they knew they had to work harder. That's how it works.
Amazing. It's got to come up fast. It's so fucking cold there.
It is. It's freezing there.
It's insulting. Weather.
This is snowy too.
Yeah.
This is a snowy. It's at the belt between Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
Yeesh.
So think about that. So after World War II, big population boom here. As people went. This is a suburb area. It's out there, so you can move kind of here, and you get a little lawn with some stuff, or maybe even a little farm or a little piece of land for yourself, and you can work in a steel mill or an iron place. But the problem is, in the 70s, when that all kind of demise of the American steel industry and everything, these populations started to decline again because of that.
Fucking aluminum.
I found a review here, and it's so strange. It's almost like a haiku is the only reason why you're going to say it here. It's 3 stars, this review, and it says, "In my hometown, there are many banks."
That's it?
No, that's the beginning. But that sounds like it's like literature. Like this is the beginning of a novel. In my hometown, there are many banks. It's going to be like this.
Here we go.
This tome of like 2,000 pages long.
I think the Lord of the Rings starts that way.
But then again, they're just listing shit, though, it turns out. In my hometown, there are many banks. We also have a doctor and a dentist. Well, good for you. For those people, the business is great because that's all that's really around.
Oh, the baker and the candlestick maker when they fold it up.
It's the butcher, too. It's gone. So it's a shame. It really is. People in this town, population 8,553 people, which is down 19% since 1990. All the towns around here, the other town I looked at, which was Vienna Township, which I did a full workup on, that was down like 55% since 1990. So that's the manufacturing jobs as they go away, because as we'll see, the higher percentage of manufacturing jobs here than normal. As they go away, so do the people. And that's what happens here. Male, female populations are all kind of on the money. Median age here is 46 and a half, which it's normally 37 and a half. All the 55-year-old and plus higher demographics are high. Even 85 years old and over is high.
Really?
And all the under 44-year-old demographics are low. Every single one. It's people. Yeah, there's not a lot of people moving here going, let's move the family to, Eastern Ohio. That's where all the opportunity is. So that's kind of the way that's going. Married is on the money. It's very average in terms of all of the stats. Married people and all that shit, kids. It's super average. It's kind of your average American town. I mean,
very Sarah Jessica Parker.
Well, no. This is the town that politicians are talking to.
Okay.
When they're going for down the middle, fucking, I'm going for middle America here. I'm throwing them some, I'm talking about damn that Wall Street and Main Street. This is who they're talking to.
Got it.
These people, because this Ohio, they flip in presidential elections, as we'll talk about all the time.
Well, it's because they're confused as fuck.
Well, when shit isn't going well, you go with something new. That's the thing. Well, I tried that. That didn't work. I'm still fucking poor. Let's try this guy. I don't give a fuck at this point. Her, great. Sounds good. They don't care. Race of this town, 96% white. Pretty white. 2% black here, and 0.0% Asian. I don't even know how you do that. That's wow. And then Hispanic is even 0.4%.
That may as well be 0.
It's almost 18% in the rest of the country. That is wild. That seems on purpose here. Speak English is the sign when you... Welcome to Brookfield Township. Speak English. Okay, never mind.
A couple of brothers stick their head out. Motherfucker.
Yeah, motherfucker. 2 of them. From the back, back of the group. Hi, we're back here. We don't blend in exactly, but there's only 2 of us. So.
And they do a badass handshake, and everybody goes, "God, that was cool."
They're fucking cool. We should get more of those guys. Why is there only 2 of them? This is fucked up. 45% of the people here are religious, and it's a mixture. There's about 20% Catholic. There's a bunch of other Christian. There's some. It's the Midwest, Methodist, Lutheran. They're all mixed in here. Not a lot Jewish, but that's the only thing that's not mixed in.
No.
0.1% Jewish, so not a lot there. The last election, there was 44.5% Democrat, 50% Republican, about 5% Independent, and the election before that was the opposite. So it's they flip hard here. Unemployment rate here is 6.5%. In the rest of the country, it's 3.7%.
Right.
So this is way more unemployed than normal. Household income here, it's about $57,500 in the rest of the country. Here it is $42,525.
Okay.
So a little bit low. A lot of people, when you look at it, most of the people are in the $20,000 to $60,000 median household income range. That's where the bulk of the people are. Nobody over 200,000, and not a lot of that shit. None of that. It's a lot of very middle class people. Like I said, people who need something to hope about.
Right.
Not people who don't have a lot of money in the bank type of thing, where they're a health catastrophe away from losing their house. So
health catastrophe. Shit,
anything.
They're one paycheck away from everything falling
apart. That's what I mean. They're a car repair away from really having a wrench thrown in their shit. So that's why they slip.
They are renewing their brake pads away from it all being fucking done.
And you look at the jobs here, manufacturing jobs, there's about double than the rest of the country. So you're depending on a lot of that manufacturing. When they talk about bringing manufacturing back, this is why they're saying that. So these people have hope and we'll vote for them. It's all politicians here. Otherwise, it's a lot of food service. There's not a lot of white collar jobs here. It's that sort of thing. Cost of living here is 100 is regular average par. Here it's 73. So it's a little bit low. And the really low thing is housing. Housing is a 36.
Good.
Median home cost here, $83,700. So you can
be a homeowner.
You can be a homeowner if you make $35,000 a year here. That's the thing. You can work it out. 14% of the houses are worth less than $20,000 here. A lot. Pretty much most everything. About 75% of the houses are under $150,000. So that's what it is here. And if we've convinced you, the only place for you is Brookfield Township. We have the Brookfield Township, Ohio Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here is about $700 a month. So it seems high for where it is in terms of owning. Owning is a better option here. I found you can get it cheap. You want to pitch a tent? 0.37 acres of land. So it's a pretty decent sized plot that you can put a house on.
Bigger than a quarter of an acre.
Yeah, have a nice yard and everything like that. $3,500.
$3,500
so,
for a third of an acre.
Yeah, you're going to have a bunch of land for the price of a terrible used car. Wow. So not bad. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 962 square foot house. Not great. It's run down, but you could live in it still. $21,900.
Okay.
It's less than a car. You know what I mean?
Now I see why Dave Chappelle moved there.
Yeah.
You're a fucking king with his kind of money.
Well, yeah, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot house. Not the worst. Yeah. It needs to be updated. Sure. Like it doesn't have all the cabinets are white with it doesn't have all of that, but it's definitely livable. $45,000.
My word.
Not too bad if you got a couple of kids or something. And I found a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,436 square foot, spread out, very nice. It's on 2 acres. Yeah. It's one of these that sits on a little hill with just rolling lawn all around it. $289,000.
Oh, Jesus!
And it looks like a mansion. So it's crazy.
I want it.
That's what I mean. It's affordable, but the jobs, there's not a lot of money to be made here, so it's hard
to. It's a retirement place.
Yeah, if you made some money somewhere else and you don't mind the cold, you can go here and live like a king.
I've got so many goals right now.
Oh my goodness, things to do. I found this is like in the county fairgrounds or something. It's near here. It's not in this town, but it's too funny to not talk about. The Ohio Viking Festival.
Oh my God!
I don't know why you'd do that.
You guys don't have an ocean nearby.
No, neither does Minnesota. And they're all about it. But
that's a good point. But they still dress like that.
That's true. They have a corn pit. I don't know.
What?
Enjoy some relaxing time while the kiddos play at our corn pit. Here, kids, go in the corn pit. What the? Who throws their kid in a corn pit?
Is it like
picture kernels?
Right? Is that what it is?
Instead of a ball pit, it's kernels.
Because that's like fucking quicksand.
But then you'd step on it, and be all mushy.
Drown.
Also, they're wet inside.
Oh my God!
Corn's wet. Is it dry? It's like popcorn. Maybe it's a popcorn pit. Viking Village.
Yeah.
Stroll through our Viking Village and see what life was like. Just less rape, I'm sure, will be involved in this. Ask the Vikings questions and see what they're cooking for lunch, and engage your little ones in a new bartering game. Trade your little ones to Vikings. Perfect. Artisans. The mother of all dragons, Dragon Training School.
This is stupid.
This is stupid.
This is how the fuck. This is how bored they are.
Look at this man. He's got a Viking with a harp under music. Look at him.
What the fuck?
And his name is Harper Kirk.
Harper.
Oh, my God. It's probably his title. And also, there's Friday is shield painting class.
Oh, Jesus.
This is the picture for the shield painting class.
So much.
It's a fucking wooden shield with like a He-Man shield with the 2 straps on the back you put on your arm.
2 leather straps back there.
It's ridiculous. That's silly. June 26, 2020. The shield painting class is $12 for 45 minutes.
You got to pay for that?
Oh, you got to pay extra for shield painting. Are you kidding me? Jesus.
Got to pay for humiliation?
Where do you think all that corn comes from, Jimmy? It's that corn money. So that works. Crime rate there's nothing else. It's just the Viking festival. Crime rate in this town, what we're interested in. Property crime, slightly high, but not much, about 10%. Just, pretty average in terms of that. Within the error, margin of error, I would say. Yeah. And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and assault is about half the average of the national average. Okay. So it's not too murdery, we'll say. Speaking of that, though, guess what we're going to talk about? Yeah. A murder.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
But one of those.
Let's get into
one of those very low percentages.
This is a little higher here for this particular case. Let's talk about this murder. For this, we have to go all the way back to 1991. Okay. So we're going to go back a little bit. We're going to try to do cases it's okay to do cases that are kind of newer, but I feel like they're a little fresh sometimes for people, and also, I don't know, there's something different about doing it. I'm not saying they all have to be 30 years old, but maybe ones from the last 5 years, make them a little older. Yeah. It's kind of, if Snapchat's involved in the crime, maybe we don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Just that.
DJ Khaled's song in the background.
She was listening to that while she was murdered. Maybe we don't do it at that point. That's all I'm saying. Not crazy, but just a little distance.
Mac Miller made him do it?
A little distance. Yeah. They were depressed over Mac Miller's suicide, so they decided to off someone. Well, not suicide, overdose.
Close
suicide.
enough.
I apologize. I wasn't trying to say that. For some reason in my mind, it was.
I believe he had some mental issues, so he didn't do it on purpose.
That's what I mean. I know it wasn't, but it's just that's how it came out. I didn't mean that. So. Anyway.
You get the point.
Yeah. We have to talk about Tammy Engstrom first.
Okay.
Tammy with an I. Yeah. T-A-M-I.
All right.
Tammy Engstrom here. Now, Tammy lives in Ohio, and she's 22 years old. Okay. She's married. Yeah. She's a young married lady here. She works in a bar as well. I think it's the Clover Lounge. We'll talk about it in a second. She works there. She leaves work early on the night of February 7th, 1991. Okay. Where were you on February 7th?
Thinking about my 10th birthday coming up.
Hey, all excited for your 10th birthday? What did you want for your 10th birthday?
10th birthday. I know that you want to know where I celebrated? I celebrated it in the river bottom under an overpass, riding quads and dirt bikes.
Oh, I was going to say, what are you, homeless? shooting speedballs. That's what we did down there. It's up childhood.
That's where I celebrated.
Right,
I remember it was cold as shit.
That sounds like a nice rednecky birthday, though.
Yeah.
It seems like you probably loved it, though, right?
2 weeks prior, I was looking forward to that shit.
That's, I mean, you were probably loving it, right?
I was jacked.
Oh, that's what I'm
it's
saying.
the best day ever.
It's the best day ever.
I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm 38 now, and I feel like an old piece of shit when I drive by it, and there's just houses everywhere. I'm like, there was nothing.
I could ride my quads here.
Yeah.
That was actually a bad time. That was my mother had just moved to Arizona, and I was waiting to move there, and my life was in complete disarray as a
you
child.
had no idea what was coming.
Family ripped apart and on different coasts, and it was not great at all.
James's head is spinning.
Bad stuff. Yeah, this was the beginning of the angsty time that is still here today. So,
meanwhile, I cannot wait at this point
to
for
go
2
ride
weeks
more
from
quads.
now. Right.
You still, he means that now.
Right now.
Yeah, not then. He's right now is going to go ride his quads.
I had no idea that 4 months later was going to be the worst summer of my life.
And then that happened.
And then I'm a mess.
So, this was, Jesus, 91 was awful.
It's a bad time.
91 formed the show, it seems like.
Or at least the fucking depression that I had.
Yeah, well, both of our weirdnesses.
That year fucked us both up.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Worse for you, I would say. I got over mine eventually. So
I'm alive.
You were here. So she leaves work, though. She says she's ill and leaves work February 7th, 1991. And she drives from Hubbard, Ohio, which is where her job is. This is right by the Ohio-Pennsylvania border also. Yeah. So there's going to be some Pennsylvania, some Ohio. You can cross back and forth very quickly. Yeah. All these towns are within 15 minutes of the Pennsylvania border. Okay. It's right around there. So she drives from Hubbard, Ohio to Missouri or Missouri even. If they're really crazy with their pronunciations. Masury.
Yep.
That could be anything.
I'll bet they call it Missouri.
That could literally be anything in local pronunciation. Like the way we've seen local pronunciations, you can take the most basic word, car, and it'll be like, that ain't car.
No.
What are you calling a car for? They don't know anything. It's KR. Fucking stupid idiots. And they tweet us that. Like, right. Fuck you. This can go any way.
I don't care how
I'm going to call it Missouri because that's fun for me.
Because it's hilarious.
It's the dumbest way they can pronounce it, so I'm going to assume that's the way it's pronounced because that's usually how it goes.
I love
in our
that
shows.
so much.
So she is going from Hubbard, Ohio to Missouri, Ohio. Missouri is like right on the border of Pennsylvania. It's like right there. Okay. And she's going to the Nickelodeon Lounge. Oh, baby.
What's she doing there? She's working there?
No, she
left her job early to go to another bar.
She left her job at a bar to go to another bar. Her uncle's there. She's going to visit her uncle. Her uncle's name is Daniel Hivner, and he is at this bar already and waiting for her. So
drinking, hanging out.
He's there. He's just hanging out. Okay. This is his kind of hangout place, and then she comes to see him from her job. So it's about 5:30 p.m. She left work before that, so she wasn't on very long. She probably got there, so I really don't feel good. I'm not going to stay.
Got it.
Went home. She 5:30 p.m. She dropped off her 1-year-old son. Yeah. She's got a 1-year-old son named Casey. Okay. Her husband's name is Andy. They're both, early 20s. She's 22. They're young people with a young baby, young married couple.
And they're going somewhere to go drink with her uncle in the Midwest. This is very Midwest.
At 5:30 p.m. instead of going to work. So, she drops Casey off at her friend's house, a woman named Sharon King. That was before she went to work. She dropped the kid off originally. Drops the kid and take the kid to the bar, say I'm sick, and then drop her. No, she dropped her kid off to go to work at 5:30. She went to the Clover Bar, is the name of the bar she works in Hubbard, Ohio, and there Tammy's mother also works there at the Clover Bar. So it's a mother-daughter I guess, bartending waitress team going on at the Clover Bar here. Mary Jane Hess is her mom. They both work at the Clover Bar. Tammy arrived at work at 6:30 p.m. and later at about 9:30 is when she went home. Okay. So I was mistaken on the other thing. She goes home at 9:30 p.m. She's there for about 3 hours. She dropped her son off an hour before that. Her mom relieved her so she could go home.
Got
there. Okay. Now, so she leaves. Tammy leaves, and she ends up in Missouri, Ohio, to visit her uncle Daniel, and he's a regular patron at the Nickelodeon Lounge. Okay. He's holding court.
He's our guy.
All day. He's our guy. He is the Brookfield Township, Masery, whatever. This is his home field here. So you know that guy who holds court at the local bar.
It could go either way, though. It could be like the greatest dude in the world.
I was just going to say,
holy shit, is he a nightmare?
He could be Roman Craig from The Great Outdoors, where he's telling you a million bullshit stories, or he could just be the coolest fucking guy ever. He's like good at darts, but not too good, doesn't rub it in your face, shit like that.
You can compete
fun
with
guy,
him.
Fun guy, knows sports, but doesn't get too fucking crazy about it.
Teach you a trick shot or two at pool.
Yeah, hey, check this out.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't tell you like disgusting fucking sexual stories about people you don't want to hear about.
What he did back in the war with his friends.
Now, I know this is going to sound weird, but let me tell you some freaky shit I did with my grandma. Now, I know, but I was 12 and she's a young grandma. So you're like, whoa, I got to get the fuck away. There's that guy at every bar.
Sorry, I didn't mean to gross you out. Come on, come back over here. I'll tell you what me and 6 other GIs did to two German girls back in the war.
And I'll show you a picture of my grandma too. Also, I got to show you a picture of her because she was a fine piece of ass. I'll tell you what. She was a fine. Who's a hot piece of ass? Martha's a hot piece. Her name's Martha. A hot piece of ass. So I couldn't remember that. So Tammy arrives at the Nickelodeon at about 10 o'clock p.m. Obviously, doesn't have her son with her. Clearly, she at the time she rolls up Nickelodeon bar lounge 10 p.m. Not feeling good, wearing a black leather coat, a sweater, black pants, black shoes, black stockings. So I like her. I like her style.
She sounds hot as shit.
She dresses like Sarah. I dig it. She's just all black.
She dresses like Emily,
and,
too.
Yeah, and me. I like this.
That's a leather. That's a black leather. I'm into that.
There's this black sweater, black pants, black shoe. I like that. Hey, look at that. You're all put together. That's good stuff.
Very uniform.
I like the perfect monochromatic. So, and also a $1,200 diamond cluster ring. Who she had purchased from her friend Sharon King, who's watching her son right now, a few weeks earlier. So she bought a ring from her friend. I don't know if her friend.
Does it mean anything? It's just something
It's just a ring she bought. Yeah, I guess she liked the ring.
She's
and
crushing it.
Yeah, her and her husband are doing fine, I guess. And yeah, she could buy a ring. I don't know if maybe this was like when young couples get married, a lot of times they won't be able to get a decent engagement ring. A lot of times it'll be like...
They wait a while?
Yeah, it'll be some... I know I can't give you anything now, but in a couple of years, and maybe they got married in a couple of years from now, and they said, let's replace your ring and get something nice or something like that. Go. That's very common in marriages. So she's wearing that. She's also carrying a small gray purse, which one of her friends who had talked to her earlier said contained a significant amount of money in her purse. So I don't know if I don't know how much significant is to this person. That's very subjective.
Yeah.
It could be $80. She's like, she got $80. 80.
This bitch walking around with $64 spinning cash.
Crazy. 24 of it's in singles, Jimmy. It just looks like a big roll.
Your goddamn mind.
I almost robbed her, and she's my sister. So, no, but you have no idea who.
It just depends on what's in your bank account.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The difference between a lot and not a lot.
I'm saying it's got to be like a couple $100 or more.
I'd say $500 to $1,000.
Yeah, I was going to say 91. So I'm going to say 91. $300 could be a significant amount of money in 91.
She's got a $1,200 ring on her hand,
true.
though. She may have $1,000.
I mean, she might be seems to be doing well for herself. So she gets there to hang out with Daniel Hevner, her uncle, the guy holding court here.
Yep.
She hangs out. She has a couple of drinks. She has a few drinks over here at the Nickelodeon socially with everybody, hanging, doing their thing. And a little while later, because she gets there at 10 o'clock, and about 11 o'clock, another guy comes into the bar who, he's another kind of regular in the bar. People know who he is. He knows Daniel Hevner, her uncle, to come up and, hey, Daniel, how's it going, man? Blah, blah, blah. And they talk.
Remember those two German girls?
Remember that? Oh, let me tell you. Did I ever show you a picture of my grandma? You've been waiting, haven't you? She has clothes on. I know it's kind of whatever, but
it's gross.
It's going to be hot. You got to picture it. You got to just look through it. You know what I'm saying? So this is a guy named Kenneth Biros. B-I-R-O-S is his name. And I guess Biros is how you would say that. He is he's born in June of 1958, so he's 32 years old at this time. Just regular guy, regular town guy that hangs out here. He's had an interesting kind of a life. I mean, not anything super notable, but you can kind of builds a character here. Difficult childhood, especially has a bad relationship with his father.
Oh, no.
He grows up, I think he has 2 sisters and a brother, I'm pretty sure here. And they all are afraid of his father. His father's a very abusive alcoholic.
Oh, Jesus.
And a severe alcoholic.
Yeah.
Not just like, hey, he puts a 6-pack away at night.
He can't quit.
He's fucking passed out every night from, that blackout every night kind of drunk. He's a very severe alcoholic. And he was very mean to the kids, obviously. And a lot of times back in the 60s, that was considered parenting.
Yeah.
No, I had 5 drinks and yelled at the kids. Yeah, I did my job tonight. That's what fathers do.
I've done well.
Oh, I hit the boy. Yeah, I hit the boy. I yelled at the girls. I called them fat.
Right.
It's fine. I told them they're never going to find a man that loves them. Right. And, I came up here, backhanded the boy, and I came up and made another martini. What do you want from me? I'm a parent.
He's red, not bloody. Red. He's
right.
pink.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Handprint. That's what it works. It'll go away by morning. It's fine. The Don Draper method of parenting, basically. If you watch Mad Men, that's the most striking thing to it, other than the sexism, obviously, is the and the racism is the thought of it like it's everything, but. It's really a potpourri, really.
It's really cornerstone of putting white men on a pedestal.
There's a 3-pronged attack to that. I mean, it's sexism, racism, child abuse. That's the 1960s, everyone.
The triad.
The triad of 1961. But that's back then, though. The kids were like, "Shut the fuck up and go in your room. Mm-hmm. If there's other kids here, you guys go play something. I don't care what it is. Right. Just get out of our face.
You break something, you're going to have 2 sets of parents beating the shit out of you,
and make me a Manhattan on the way out." By the way, that's the other thing. They'd have their kids mixing drinks for them and doing that and hitting them, and other people would hit your kids, and you'd be like, "Thanks for hitting my kid for me. He really was out of line."
I appreciate it. I had gin and a tonic.
Yeah,
one in each hand.
I was double fisting, so I obviously want to spill my drink.
I was mixing it in my mouth. You see, that's how you do it.
That's why it was okay to hit other people's kids. Their parents didn't want to spill their drink. Right. Will you get that for me? Like you get just back of your hand though. Right. I want it to sting. He's a shithead, this one. He's always got a mouth on him.
Will you get that from me?
That's what it seems like back then. So
like it's the remote.
That means hit my kid.
Beat the shit out of my child for me.
You get that for me. You see he's cutting up, right? Everyone knows he deserves a beating right now.
Like pass the table salt.
You heard the kid, right? That means we should beat him senseless because I know we're
seen, not heard. Did you ever hear that in your life?
Oh God,
Did they say that to you?
My grandmother's from fucking Italy. Are you kidding me?
The most insulting thing I ever heard. Children are to be seen, not to be heard.
I didn't get it wasn't a seen and not heard thing.
Oh boy,
I'm Italian. Everybody's heard. Everybody's heard.
Does that not sound a little molesting?
It sounds terrible. Yeah, you shut up. I'll look at you. You show me your ass, and you go back there. It sounds disgusting.
It's a terrible thing to say to kids.
Yeah, and I realize that obviously child abuse isn't funny, but this happened in the 60s, and it's true. And a lot of people suffered through it, and whatever. His father was mad at him because he was left-handed.
Hold on.
This actually is a thing back then because my mother's left-handed, and in church or in school, she went to Catholic school. The nuns used to beat her when she was very small to try to make her right-handed.
Did they tie her hand behind her back?
No, they just beat her with.
Wow.
They would beat him with rulers.
Wrong hand, bitch.
Yeah, they would beat him with rulers because the left hand. If you wrote with the left hand, that meant you were evil.
What the hell?
That meant you were like that. And this was Catholic school. My mother has green eyes and left-handed, so she was like the most. They all thought she was evil.
She was so beast-marked.
So that's what I mean. She's all fucked here. So that was a thing about that. And his father was a religious guy and involved in the church too, as well. Would go to church and shit like that. So he was mad at him for being left-handed, called him useless and all that type of shit.
Well, that's your fucking sperm, dude.
You sorry,
useless fuck.
Well, I failed is what you should look at it. Boy, I'm a failure.
Look at your dick every day and call it a failure.
Apologize to that kid. Sorry, I didn't give you better genetics. If you think he's shitty, yeah. Sorry, I gave it my shot. Best shot.
This one's on me, buddy.
I was probably hammered while that happened. That's why. His father would try to keep them kind of isolated, him and his siblings, even stopped them. Eventually, they weren't allowed to go to church anymore. The kids weren't allowed to go to church anymore. Just kept them kind of isolated. Like, abusive people do.
Yeah.
They want to isolate people, so it's easier to abuse them.
Yeah.
This is my little area, my abuse closet that I can fucking be shitty to people
Isn't
in.
it fascinating how that was so socially acceptable in terms of like everybody did it?
Yeah.
Yet it was so, they knew it was fucking wrong. They felt the shame as they did it.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. This is off the subject for 5 seconds, but it ties into the 60s very, very well in this time period. When there's the Hunter Thompson book, Hell's Angels, right? He wrote the book, Hell's Angels. At the very end of the book, he talks about how his relationship with the Hell's Angels ended, which was by a bunch of them almost killing him. Right. They all jumped him and beat the shit out of him. And the reason comes out, there's a television interview with Hunter Thompson where they bring out this one guy who's a Hell's Angel, and he's kind of a showy Hell's Angel. He's not one of the down and dirty guys. He's like a college graduate, and he's a different type than the rest of the guys. He's their spokesman kind of at that point on TV. And they come out to talk about why they beat him up. And the reason why they beat him up is because one of the angels kicked his dog and then slapped around his wife. Right? The guy beat the shit out of his dog and then went and started beating up his wife. Not Hunter's wife, this man's own dog and his own wife. So Hunter went over and said, only a pussy kicks a dog and beats a fucking woman, you fucking pussy. Right. And started calling him fucking names, trying to call him out and get him to stop beating his wife. Right. Which is even for the 60s, that's very progressive to get involved in somebody's business like that. But that's just a decent human thing to do. So he was met with getting sucker punched by other Hell's Angels who took that as an affront of him, whatever.
Disrespecting the gang.
Disrespecting one, so then it's the all-on-one theory, and they all have to fight. So that's how it worked there. So he was pissed off, and he's on TV, and this guy came out on television and was telling him how wrong he was to get in somebody else's business. And the whole crowd was laughing and clapping.
Wow.
Man wants to slap his wife around. That's his business. And the crowd's like, yeah. Whole studio audience, hundreds of people, men and women, laughing, clapping.
Wow.
And it's like, and Hunter's sitting there portraying just a sane point of view. Yeah. That's all it is. It's just like, I didn't like a guy beating his dog and wife. I thought that was wrong. So I told him. That's what he said. And they're like, what a fuck. Can you believe this fucking guy? The Hell's Angels. Can you believe this fucking guy?
Nosy
How
bastard.
dare he?
Right.
Yeah, that's none of your business and shit. But that's the time period where a whole studio audience would be on that guy's side.
Unreal.
So it's a weird thing. So the father wasn't, an outcast of society.
This wasn't like Jerry Springer with like a white trash audience.
This was a legit, I think it was Canadian, as a matter of fact. I believe it was a Canadian show. I could be wrong about that. But if you look it up on YouTube, Hunter Thompson, Hell's Angels, interview thing, you'll see it.
Show.
Yeah, they bring a guy out on a motorcycle and everything. So his father ends up, not Hunter Thompson's father, right. Kenneth Biros' father, ends up dying of cirrhosis of the liver.
That's what happens.
Which
to
is
them.
Very severe. This is when he's still young too, so that's how severe of an alcoholic he was. And Kenneth begins to get very, very angry about life in general, about his father being shitty and then dying too. So it's like, oh, you're shitty, and then you abandon us all as well, which is how kids think of death of parents for some reason.
Well, when they're
psychologically,
the way he died is a very selfish way of dying.
Yeah.
And while he was here, he did nothing for us in the same way. So he doubly fucked us.
Well, kids get mad though psychologically. Kids get mad at their parents even if they got in a car accident. Yeah. They get mad. It's a I don't know what it is. It's just a reaction that your brain does. It's not a logical thought out thing. So
I didn't know the whole situation between my father leaving and such, but I still to this day harbor resentment and abandonment issues because of it. It fucking stings, man.
But this kid
got to grow up with one at least a little bit.
But then this guy died, which is a different.
I don't know. I think I'd rather go fishing and get punched in the face than not go fishing.
At least there's fishing. Yeah.
At least there was a little bit of smiles
I'd rather have
during the day.
a black eye and a trout at the end of the day than nothing.
Told I'm stupid for tangling up the lines.
Well, what are you going to do?
I think I'd rather have that.
That's what having a father is, being told you're stupid for tangling up the lines. So, he said that he's able to suppress this anger though, and not let it doesn't bubble over. He ends up going to college, graduates from college, and has his life generally together when it comes to that. doesn't really have much in the way of, isn't a criminal or anything. He has a drunk driving citation from 5 years earlier in 1986. Okay. So he was 27.
Well into his adulthood.
27 years old. He got, he was drunk driving, and they only caught him because he plowed his car into a tree in what he later said was a suicide attempt.
Oh.
So he was just having a bad time, apparently. Drunk and depressed and driving is a bad thing. That's why you shouldn't drive.
You really shouldn't.
Shit-faced, probably, for that and many other reasons. But gives you a very opportunity to go, I'll just go into that thing and kill myself.
What's the difference?
So, yeah, that's all he has. He's a generally, regular guy in the town, regular at the Nickelodeon Lounge, friend of Daniel Hivner. Yeah. He arrives there about 11 o'clock. So, Tammy's been drinking and hanging out for an hour with her uncle there. Now Kenneth is coming from a drinking contest.
What?
He's coming from what they called a drinking event sponsored by the Nickelodeon and other bars. They had like some sort of drinking,
like a poker run or something.
Some sort of drinking event where you're going to drink a lot in a short amount of time. Ooh. He comes from that to the bar
to drink more.
Right. So this is the type of area we're in here.
Boy.
And if you know anything about Western Pennsylvania, I don't know a lot about Eastern Ohio, but I know plenty about Pennsylvania. That is a drinking kind of place.
Yeah.
It's
they got
cold,
a bar and they know where they're going.
It's cold, it's dark, and everyone has a keg in their house. That's what it is. I have relatives from Scranton, which isn't Western, but it's all the same once you get to the middle of Pennsylvania and
Canton, Ohio's the same damn way.
Kegs in the houses, it's okay for kids to drink in the house when they're 11.
Shit, when they're 4 or 5, they're at the bar with them.
Hey, get yourself a beer, you lazy bastard. They're yelling at him. You lazy sons of bitches. I'll tell you, these kids are lazy now. They don't get their own beers.
Taking up a bar stool, just drink a goddamn beer.
Asking his goddamn mother for a beer. It's like, get your own beer.
It's like... I love that so much.
Christ. I love that one. Christ, I tell you.
They put "it's like" in front of so many things.
Oh, yeah. I spent some time there. Yeah. I've done my time, damn it.
Boy, do I hate those two words together.
It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like. And then they make a noise. It's like. And that's the end of the sentence. What? Wait, what did you just say?
There's made about 80 of them. Right. They all qualify. What was that now? It's like, right? No, not right. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I fucking don't. You
know fuck I'm talking about. No, I don't know.
You said it's like and then made noises.
I don't know what's
happening.
What are you doing? At all. So... He comes from a drinking contest or drinking event to drink more, and what's in his. I mean, when your father's that much of a severe alcoholic, even if you hate him and see how wrong it is, A, you're genetically predisposed, and B, it's just been around you so much. Yeah. That smell, you've smelled it since you were a kid. It's subconscious at that point.
Home.
Yeah, it's exactly. That's what it is too. And people don't want to be like their parents, but they always end up like their parents.
Well, you know what? It's funny because when
happens.
but it's funny because when they start drinking, they go, I'm not going to drink like him. I'm not going to, this is going to ruin my life. I'm not going to let it. And then you see him 15 years later and you're like, fucking ruined you.
Jesus, did you just come from a drinking contest and go to a bar?
It really took you.
In your car? He drove there. Think about that.
That alcohol's chewing on your life. I want you to know.
Yeah, and then they sit around, and Kenneth drinks with Tammy and Daniel. Now, he has never met Tammy before. No. This is the first time he's ever met Tammy. Yeah. He's met Daniel plenty in the bar, but the first time he's meeting, this is my niece. Hey, how you doing?
Shit.
A friend of mine from the bar, my niece.
So much about you.
Yeah, that's all it's how it works.
Like...
She works over at the Lucky fucking, the Clover Lounge or whatever the hell, the Clover Bar, so you should see her over there. Yeah, she works on Thursdays or who the hell knows. So they drink for about an hour. Now, by midnight, Tammy is, the best way to put it would be unconscious. Unconscious, not shithouse, passed out.
In the bar?
In the bar.
Oh,
she's passed out. Now, we aren't sure if this is due to excessive intoxication or if she's has illness. Also, if she was sick and then drank on top of it and it got a little. We're not sure.
That can get you dehydrated fast.
Yeah. Either way, she's passed out. Mm-hmm. So later on, they had she's passed out. Rather than going, let's get Tammy home, they just kind of
prop her up.
They just kind of prop her on the like on the table, like just lean her on her hands. She'll be cool.
Sit her up in a wheelchair.
That's what they did.
Let the kids take pictures with her. Why don't you?
Yeah. Then we're going to take her. It's like Weekend at Bernie's after that. We're going to take her water skiing. So they just kind of leave her there, and then eventually she falls off of her chair and onto the floor.
Okay, what the fuck? Call an ambulance.
Yeah, she either has alcohol poisoning, or at the very least, she needs to leave the bar, probably, I would say.
A, home, B, maybe a hospital.
Maybe ER. Right. Yeah, we're not positive here. I don't know, maybe C. But either way, the bar isn't the greatest place for her right now. Yeah. So her Uncle Daniel here helps her back up. Also, Kenneth joins in. Oh, Jesus Christ, Tammy fell down. And Kenneth and Daniel help her back up into her seat rather than, to anywhere else. Get a lady to take her into the bathroom, splash some water on her face.
This is already a terrible thing. If you ever seen a fucking unconscious person fall,
it's scary.
They don't fall right.
No.
That is terrible.
They don't fall like in wrestling when somebody
hands don't go out. There's nothing.
They don't
there's no
tuck
fall.
their chin in they just go out. Bang!
That's
fucking
all
heads
forehead
hit.
and road.
Oh, it's not good. It is not good, man.
Bad
it's
fall.
Scary. You've seen It's one of those where you go,
oh my god!
Humans shouldn't do that. Shit. Yeah, that's not natural human stuff. Humans should protect themselves when they fall.
Shit!
A little bit.
Bleeding.
Go up into a ball or something. She hit the ground like
she didn't protect any organs or nothing.
It's scary. So instead they help. Right? Yeah.
God damn it.
Tell you what. That's the Pennsylvania, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's like
Pennsylvania, I'll tell you what, because there's never anything that they tell you.
No.
It's just, I'll tell you what. Right? Okay? And then the Pennsylvania version, it's like, right?
Lots of hand motions, head
right?
nodding, and noises.
Yeah, you can't see that right now. I'm nodding, and my eyes are,
so good.
So, they do for another hour.
She has head trauma.
Possibly.
Probably.
Who knows?
More than likely.
For another hour. So she goes, so she gets there at 10, drinks for an hour, or drinks for 2 hours, and then passes out for a full hour. And then finally at 1 a.m., Daniel and Kenneth here, her uncle and Kenneth Biros, assist her in moving from the bar to the parking lot.
Oh, boy.
So, she'll be fine.
Where's she going to the parking lot?
Outside. Now, once she gets out there, she's awake again. Yeah. She says, I'm driving home. I'm
You're
fine.
out of your fucking mind.
She's insisting on driving home.
I don't care, bitch. We're fighting.
Yeah. Now,
Get in my car.
Hivner here. This is 91 when drunk driving still wasn't what it is now, but if someone has been passed out and fell on the floor, even in the 60s, they'd go, maybe I'll drive you home, right? Yeah. Yeah, maybe another hour nap or something. I don't think you should drive, Draper. I think you're a little fucked up still.
A DUI was one thing. It was pretty well acceptable. You understood him. But
she's going to kill herself.
Yeah.
You're going to wrap
a family.
You're going to hit a car head on and kill a fucking, a busload of nuns or something, obviously.
Everybody I knew drove drunk when I was 10.
Yeah.
Everybody I knew, that was a very small circle.
Oh, God, yeah. Me too, though.
But everybody I knew in that circle.
Yeah, everybody did it.
There was still a point that was shameful. Like my mother had a woman that worked for her.
Pass out.
Right. She was on fucking cops passed out in an intersection behind the wheel. There's shame in that.
If you're going to get into a head-on collision with a station wagon full of divinity students, we got a problem. You know what I mean? You probably can't do that now. Let's do this shit. So, her uncle, who, I guess he picked her up off the floor. That's a nice thing. He says, I'm not letting you drive home, and physically takes the keys from her. You're not driving fucking home. But he doesn't say, I'll take you home. So what he instead does is hands her purse, because she had dropped it along the way. Hands her her purse. He said he noticed she was wearing her long leather coat at that time. And Kenneth says, I'll bring her home. So this man, who came from a drinking contest to the bar to then drink for another 2 hours, is going to take your niece home instead of her. I'm slightly less drunk. I can stand up all right.
There's one of us hadn't passed out yet.
Yes. Obviously, I'm the driver. That's the difference in 91. Hey, you're too drunk to drive. Wrestle the keys out of your hand. You're still all right. You take her home. That was the difference. In the 60s, anyone would drive. And by 91, the less drunk person would drive. Whoever's the least drunk. Who's the least fucked up of us here? All right, here's the keys.
You walk the line, then I will.
That's fine. That's good.
But the uncle, he should just be like, you just met her. Are you nuts? No.
And he's taking it as it's a small town. He knows this guy. He's a regular at the bar. So he trusts him to take her home. He says, I'll take her home. It's all within 15 fucking minutes. So he's like, I'll just take her home. No big deal. deal. He says, I'll take her. He goes, I'm going to go home too. He goes, I'm going to stop for a cup of coffee. He goes, I'll take her in and get her a cup of coffee too. We'll stop at the diner.
Yeah.
He goes, we'll have a cup of coffee, sober us both up a little bit, and then I'll take her home. So to Daniel, this sounds like a good idea. I don't know why they didn't get her a cup of coffee in a bar. Yeah. Bars all have coffee.
They do.
People make coffee booze drinks all the time.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't. So either way, that's to Daniel, it sounded like a good idea. Yeah, go get a cup of coffee in her. Try to get her back to, maybe get some toast and something there for the stomach, and then take her home.
Lots of carbs, soak it up,
get her home. Yeah. So Kenneth Biros and Tammy Engstrom leave the Nickelodeon lounge at about 1:15 a.m. in Kenneth's car. Now Biros said that the uncle Hivner said that he expected them to come back, but Kenneth said that he was supposed to take her home. But there's a confusion there. So apparently Daniel was waiting for them to come back.
He just sat there.
If they were going to go get coffee and come back, but she never returned. So he figured, Kenneth probably took her home. She probably didn't want to come back. She, didn't feel good probably. So meanwhile, while all this is going on, this whole evening of, we just mapped out from 5:30 to,
it's an event,
to all the way to 1:15 in the morning. Meanwhile, on the upside down of this, on the flip side, Tammy's husband Andy was looking for her and just missing her places as he went. About 11:30 p.m. This is pre-cell phone, so you can't just text her. Oh, where are you at? No, blah blah blah. If someone said I'm going to work, you expected them to be at work.
Right.
So you go
spend radio silence for the next 8 hours.
That's it. You're not going to talk to this person for a while. If there's an emergency, you can call their job, and that's that. So he at 11:30 p.m. Andy shows up at the Clover Bar expecting Tammy to be there because he has a gift for her.
Oh.
Nice
a gift
guy.
for the wife?
He's got a gift for his wife.
Just because.
Just because he popped into work to just give her a gift at 11:30 p.m. Seems like a nice guy, this Andy, right? But her mom was there, and Tammy's mom said she left work. She went home sick. So I don't know. She's not here, obviously. So Andy drove home because he's like, oh, she must be there. Right. So he drove home, and she wasn't there. Yeah. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ, where the hell is she then? What's going on? So he then asks the Sharon woman who was watching the kid to begin with, watching young Casey. Right. He asks her to continue watching Casey because I guess Andy was at work too. So
got it. That's
when he got off work, so they needed a sitter. So I think he said, "Hey, do you mind watching the baby for another little while?
I gotta go find mom.
I'm gonna go find my wife here. I don't know where she is, so I'm gonna go out and look for her."
Much easier minus a kid. A 1-year-old.
Yeah, with a 1-year-old in tow, it's difficult. Hold on, I gotta change shitty diaper, then I'll get back on the hunt. It's not as easy. You
can't leave that kid in the car?
No, you can't. Hey, keep an eye out here. Make sure she doesn't come.
Unbuckling. God damn it.
I'll leave you my gun.
Right.
You're not going to do that. It's tough.
Hold this, Casey. You're going to be all right.
Casey. You'll be fine. No, it's not like that. So he goes out to look for Tammy. At about 1 a.m., so he's out for a while here. At about 1 a.m., he spoke with Tammy's sister, Deborah, and Deborah suggested maybe Tammy might have gone to the Nickelodeon because Daniel was going to be there.
Okay.
So I think maybe she talked about that. I'm not sure about it, but you might want to check over there.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, it's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs that helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure, yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com. Noom.com, Noom.com here, based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. Yeah. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. Yeah. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
So at 1:10 a.m., 10 minutes after they marched her out the door, Andy calls the Nickelodeon and is told that Tammy and Daniel had already left the bar. Her uncle, they already left. They left a few. You just missed them.
Yeah.
So one of those things. Just missed them.
She took a good nap.
She's
fine.
Should be
good by now.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed by the time she gets home. So Andy left the bar, assuming that she's with her uncle hanging out, and they left. Eventually, she'll be home. Basically,
great sleuthing, by the way, Andy.
That's what I'm saying. Andy should, maybe that's where he was.
God, he's quick.
Maybe he's a fucking like a major crimes detective or something for the local police department, and that's how he got here. I'm telling you,
followed the leads,
and he's only 10 minutes off the trail. It's not bad. I got to be honest here.
He is good.
Yeah. So he then he says, "Fuck it, I'll go to sleep. I'm sure she'll be home soon." Yeah. And he's tired, and he goes, "She'll be home soon." He wakes up that morning, and she's still not there. Mm-hmm. So he's like, "Okay, now that's not normal.
Get back on the hunt, Paul."
Yeah. What's going on here? Yeah. What's going on there, Billy? So on the next morning is a Friday morning, February 8th, at about noon. Andy and the woman, Sharon, who was watching the baby, they go to the Nickelodeon and they see that Tammy's car is there still. So like, okay, Tammy's car's there. Must have been here all night because, a morning in a bar. Yeah. A Friday morning at a bar that's
the most depressing shit.
2 cars of people that were too drunk to be there, and like one of the employees' cars that broke down 3 months ago and they haven't been able to get it out.
A trickle of puke through the parking lot.
And like a couple of bottles.
Right.
So always some beer bottles that people snuck out.
Water bottle full of piss.
Yeah. Oh yeah, over there.
It's all ugly.
It's not great. so you can smell this parking lot. So they learn that. He starts asking around because there's employees coming in. You know, they start getting the place ready. He asks around, and he learns that Kenneth Biros drove away with Tammy. That's the last person that anybody saw Tammy with. Yeah. So, you know, he might be the guy to talk to. So this is...
Oh, Andy.
This is amazing.
I can feel his blood right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's so warm.
Yeah, he doesn't know whether to be afraid or angry right now. That's the thing here.
But both those feelings make him want to puke and shit at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a terrible gut feeling.
I would say. Jesus Christ. So... so Andy drives to Biros' house, goes to Kenneth's house, finds out his address. This is exactly what people do, like detectives do in the police force. Usually not this well in our show. And on our show, other places, but on our show, these small town police forces, they could use Andy.
They better deputize this motherfucker.
Deputize.
He is good.
Fuck that. Just, you're on the force. I don't.
You're the sheriff, son.
There, put a badge on your little belt there and put a tie on. Get out there and investigate some shit. That's all you need. You don't even
like Woody.
Yeah, perfect. Good. Even better. So he's there. He talks to Kenneth, and Kenneth said, "Oh, dude, yeah, I fucking, I was there last night." He goes, "We got about 3/10 of a mile down the road from the Nickelodeon there," and he said she just got out of the car. She said, he tapped her on the shoulder. She was out cold, and he was like, "Hey, wake up. I'm driving you home." And he said that Kenneth said she, quote, freaked out, got out of the car, and started running through these people's yards on Davis Street in Sharon, Pennsylvania. That's what he says.
Okay.
So he's like, she just took off, started running down the street. And he said, "Look, I got out of the car, started to go after her, but then I thought, it's 1:00 in the morning. I'm chasing a woman through people's yards. This looks bad. Plus, I'm shit-faced, and I don't want to get a DWI. So the cops get called. They're going to come find me with my car, chasing a woman. This doesn't look good for me." So I said, "Fuck it. If she wants to run, she ain't my fucking problem." And I drove home. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Yeah. Your wife fucking ran away. That's what he told her. So that's what he told him. So,
all right.
Andy's a little suspicious of Kenneth.
Yeah.
Andy says that, tell you what, I already contacted the police in Sharon, Pennsylvania, and I intend to file a missing persons report here in Brookfield Township with the police department. And Andy also tells Kenneth, quote, "If Tammy doesn't turn up right fast, they're going to come looking for you and it's going to be your ass." Which sounds like the lyric from like a outlaw country song.
That rhymed as a motherfucker.
That is an outlaw country.
Yeah, it is.
"If Tammy don't turn up right fast, they're gonna come looking for you, and it's gonna be your ass." And then it really kicks in.
Yeah.
So they get gonna be your ass.
Real bassy.
Your ass. Woo. Hey, it's like gonna be your ass. Sorry.
That's fucking that's a great quote.
It's a great quote to tell a guy who is the last guy to be seen with your missing wife.
He said that shit right in his eyes.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I love Andy. Yeah. Dude, Andy's my man right now.
The best dude we've ever had in any story.
He's fucking awesome so far. So now Biros tells everybody the same story that day because people are asking him, "Hey, where's Tammy? Where's Tammy?" And he goes, "Hey, look," he told Tammy's mother, her brother, her uncle, her friends, her acquaintances,
the butcher, the baker,
candlestick maker, the doctor, and the dentist who are still in business. All of them were there.
Goddamn.
Everyone from the many banks.
Yeah.
Everyone was here. It was pretty awesome. So he told her that he and Engstrom, we left the Nickelodeon. She woke up. She became frightened. Didn't know who the fuck I was because she was drunk when we met.
Because it's our first time meeting.
Yeah.
And then it occurred to me, this was a fucking bad idea to give her a ride
This does seem silly.
Right.
And jumped out, ran between houses, through yards. What am I going to do? Run through people's yards chasing a strange woman in the middle of the night who doesn't want me to be near her? That's no.
You know what he sounds like to me, though, is a guy at a gas station with a really great story asking you for 50 cents.
Yeah,
you know that guy?
Yeah,
the guy with like
it's a good story.
Right, it's a great story. It's logical
He's
and it's
short
believable.
A bus fare.
Right.
He's that short.
He's just 50 cents short.
50 cents short. So he can see his kid while he's still on life support.
And he says that shit because he knows that nobody has 50 cents anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to give him a 5, 10, or 20.
Exactly.
Fuck out of my life,
have
sir.
38 cents. I really... 38 cents.
That's all I need.
And they give you like a 4-minute story for 38 cents. It's like, just walk up and go, "You got $1? I'd have given you the $1. You didn't need to waste.
I got much more respect for you if you just go, I don't have any. Do you have $1?
Yes, I don't have any money. I'll give you money. I will. You know me. I give fucking home. I don't care. Yeah. There you go.
I've seen you give it.
Don't give a shit. Yeah, I feel bad if people don't have money. Yeah.
You find the oldest person in each town that's homeless, and you like to drop a quick 10 spot on them.
Yeah, usually
change their life.
I do. I can't stand when old people are homeless.
It's horrible.
You have done something for someone that they are not doing for you now at this point. If I see an old homeless woman, forget about it.
Oh, Jesus.
Anything I got.
James
I can't
is buying her a house.
I can't deal with it.
You get a house, and you get a house.
Well, I'm like, you probably have children.
Yeah.
You probably raised people, and they've fucking let this happen to you.
Right.
Fucking makes me crazy. I picture my grandmother on the street. Drives me nuts. So he also says, he tells several people, I chased her on foot for a while, and the amount of chasing varies from person to person. Whether I chased her for a quarter mile and I couldn't do it anymore, or whether I just got out of the car, took 3 steps and said, Jesus, what am I doing? I can't chase a woman. So it's one of those things. A bunch of people that he talked to also said they observed cuts and scratches on his hands and a fresh wound over his right eye.
Oh.
Kenneth Biros. So he says that he hurt his hands because he locked himself out of his house last night. That's how his hands got hurt, and he had to break a window, and he cut himself up there, and his eye he cut a couple days ago chopping wood. Okay. So it's February. I'm chopping wood, and chip comes up, hit me right in the eye. Son of a bitch, which happens. Yeah. So, I mean, it's believable enough, but suspicious the night after someone disappears. Kenneth assists her relatives in searching for her. He joins the search party. Well, I don't know where. I wish I would have found her. I feel bad that she ran away. I didn't know what to do. Let me help you find her. He's doing like that. So they're going,
That Andy said it's going to be my ass.
It's going to be my ass.
Find her.
I'm responsible for this shit. It's going to be my ass. So I believe her, goddammit. So now.
It's going to be your ass.
I love that.
Yeah.
Not only.
That's the most gangster thing to say to somebody. It's going to be your ass.
And it's what anybody would want to say and say. That's great. After he did detective work to hunt this guy down. He's like Wyatt Earp, this fucking guy. I love him, Andy. So,
Wyatt's last ride.
It is. Wyatt Engstrom over here. So, also at this point, Tammy's brother threatens to kill Kenneth if Tammy has been hurt in any way.
Oh,
He's like, I'll fucking kill you myself if she's hurt in any way. One of Tammy's uncles told Kenneth that if Tammy had been hurt, he would, quote, rip Kenneth's heart out. And then Tammy's mother told him as well, if you put one scratch on my daughter, I will fucking kill you. So.
This family is fucking great.
I love this family. Yeah. They are fucking great. This is all appropriate behavior.
Absolutely.
If someone is the last person seen with your daughter and is given suspicious answers, you threaten bodily fucking harm on them. This is perfect.
Just reminding them, listen, hey, if she turns up shitty in any bad situation,
it's on you, Chief.
It's your ass.
I'm holding you. It's
your
gonna
ass.
be your ass, mister.
It's gonna be your ass. You know
what I'm talking about. And I'm down with this stuff. I'll kill you. I'll rip your heart.
Yep.
Fuck yes, you will.
Absolutely.
That's your fucking daughter, and you should think like that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And Kenneth said, hey, listen, told Tammy's mother, don't worry. Your daughter's going to be just fine. You wait and see. Mm-hmm. It's like, don't worry. It's going to be just fine. I don't know what's going on, but I didn't do nothing. So, don't. Everybody stop with the threatening. Let's all calm it down.
I don't know that I would be so quick to be telling people everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. How the hell am I? She ran. Last I saw her, she was running away.
Right. The quote-unquote last time you saw her, she was hysterical running through the woods.
Drunk running through another town.
Fuck do you know it's okay?
Yeah, she could have been eaten by a bear at this point.
You idiot.
So Kenneth lives on, this is his address here, 5956 Kingsgrave Road in Brookfield Township. He lives with his mother and his brother. Okay. His brother Kerry lives there as well. His mother Joanne and his brother Kerry. So on Friday morning, February 8th, this is when this all is going on about the searching and everything. Biros' mother, Joanne, found a gold ring on the bathroom floor at the house where her and Kenneth and Kerry live. Okay. So she asked Kerry about it. He didn't know anything about it. She asked Kenneth about it. And first he said, I never saw that in my life. I don't know where that came from. It's like a gold ring, like a wedding band type of ring.
Just a plain gold ring.
Plain gold band, yeah. And then she questioned him a little bit more about it. And she said, but Kerry didn't leave the house. Where would it come from? And then he said, oh, you know whose it might be? He said, it might belong to the woman who jumped out of my car early in the morning. Her mom's like, what?
Why would that come back to the house?
What are you talking about?
And
she's
who
like,
the fuck is she?
A woman. And then he explained it. He's like, oh, it's down at the bar, Daniel's niece.
Happened, right.
What happened was, it's like, I mean, right?
What do you do, Mom?
What you gonna do? So the mother was like, well, I mean, you better get it back to her. It's a gold ring. You know, she's probably going to want it back. And he says to his mom, he tells his mother that the ring appeared to be made of, quote, cheap gold. And so he said, I think she probably isn't even worried about it. Looks like it's cheap gold. Looks like it's garbage. And she said, no, the ring's not cheap. It's gold. It's a nice ring. I can see. It says fucking 18 karat on the inside of
it.
It's
a fucking jeweler?
Yeah.
It's a ring.
Okay, get out your fucking loop. Let's go. Put on your loop and we're going to look at this fucking gold at a closer. What are you kidding
asshole?
me? No. So, Jesus Christ. So she said, it's not cheap. And he said, I don't know. Maybe it belongs to that girl. I don't know. He says, tell you what, I'll take it and I'll bring it back to the Nickelodeon and I'll give it to her. Her uncle's always there. I'll give it to him. And if it's hers, he can give it back to her. I don't know. I don't care about it. Whatever.
Oh boy.
So that's what he said. So that's how that worked. Puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
As far as his mother knows, it's going back to the bar. So later that night, this is Friday, February 8th. They've been searching. He's been threatened much bodily harm by her entire family, rightfully so. And
if I'm him at this point and I have that ring, let's say his story is true and checks out. The last thing I'm doing is bringing pieces of jewelry back to that family.
Yeah,
they threatened to kill me. That's essentially bringing a pinky back to them.
Did I mention that I have her jewelry?
Right.
So she's gonna be fine.
I may or may not have a ring, but she's okay.
I mentioned how good she is.
I'm sure she's.
I think she's
intact.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. So Kerry Biros, the brother, he's home watching TV at the Biros home here. He's home watching TV, and Kenneth is outside in a pasture behind the house. Okay, Kerry goes outside and calls to him to see what he's doing.
Okay.
And Kenneth responds that he is watching stars.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. And then Kerry comes back into the house and says he went to bed. So Kerry ends up, he's just watching. He goes back in, goes to sleep. I guess Kenneth is watching, quote, watching stars. I don't know. You look at stars.
Yeah.
They don't really do anything. You don't watch them.
Generally move.
I'm watching them, keep an eye on them, make sure they don't go nowhere.
It's like,
you know. right, you know. So February 9th comes around, Saturday morning here. Police officers call Kenneth at home. And they leave him a message on his answering machine requesting that he come down to the police station and answer some questions about Tammy's disappearance.
Fair.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That seems exceedingly fair.
I mean, it seems a little...
You're the last one that's seen with him. They don't go get him and say, "Hey, we need to talk to you, Chief." They give him, "Hey, if you're around town, it's
a lot lighter of an interrogation or questioning or search than Andy's doing."
I would say that's what I mean. I want Andy on the case. This guy is just fucking. You want to if you're in the neighborhood,
if you're free,
just swing by. Maybe
you probably got shit to do.
I understand. An officer, Frank Murphy, left the message on the machine. Said they'd like to interview him concerning the disappearance. They think he might have some information. He asked him to go to the police station. Biros does. He complies. He says he's going to go down to the police station. On his way down to the police station, a police officer passed him on the road. This is how small of a town it is. The police officer said, "Oh yeah, that's that guy we're looking for. I know him." And that's weird. And imagine if Phoenix, if a cop was looking for Jimmy Whisman, they wouldn't know you by sight to pass you on the road. You know what I mean? So I would hope not anyway. So this police officer, turns around, stops Kenneth and tells him that, police would like to speak with him. And he said, "Yeah, I'm on my way down there now. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm doing." And the cop was like, "All right, good deal then. Have fun." Didn't say, "Well, I'll just take you down there." He said, "Yeah, enjoy.
I'll see you there."
See you. And the cop just goes about on his patrol, just going down. And Biros heads down to the police station. He gets down there by himself about 5:35 p.m. On a Saturday evening. He enters the station. Officer Rocky Fonts accompanies him to the interrogation room. "Hey, Rocco, you want to bring him in the interrogation?" "I got him."
I feel like that name used to be Della something.
Yeah, Rocky Della Fonse.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, "We're going to go with Fonts." Rocky Fonts. He's the big fuck who quote, accompanies people places. He's not real bright.
No.
They're like, "Rocco, accompany him." He's like, "I'll take him there." And he just grabs him. And
just a mass of police uniform.
He grabs him around like one hand on each arm and just picks him up that way and carries people places. Yeah, here you go. I'll take him there. It was about this interrogation room. It's 6 by 9 feet. It's a small small room, interrogation room. It's got a desk, a cabinet, some chairs, a blood alcohol content analyzer for some reason, and a video camera set up. Okay, they leave the interrogations door open when he goes in there. This is not like we're closing the door, sitting him in the corner. You know how they do interrogations if you watch the first 48. This is not that at all. Okay. Open door. His freedom isn't limited. He's not handcuffed. They don't tell him you have to sit there, don't move. He can get up and walk around, do whatever he wants.
This is 1991.
This is 91. Yeah. He's not told he's under arrest or that he's free to leave at that point at all. Later on, they tell him he is free to leave. At some point he has a 35-minute conversation. The officer there, John Clarick, tells him that he is free to leave. You're not required to answer these questions. You're not under arrest or anything like that. You can leave if you want, but we'd really love your help.
Yeah.
So, why would you not help us?
Right.
When you put it that way, it's hard to go, well, I ain't talking to you. That makes you look pretty fucking guilty. Yeah. If you didn't do anything, you would want to help find this person.
They're giving him all the opportunity in the world to look not guilty.
To look not exactly. So, so he ends up down there, free to leave at any point and all that sort of thing. Like we said, not under arrest. So he ends up repeating the same story he's told to everybody else. He says, I saw her. She ran away. We were at the Nickelodeon. I took her to get coffee and food in Sharon, Pennsylvania. That's the only difference. Now, all of a sudden, he went to Sharon, Pennsylvania to get coffee and food. He said that she passed out in the car, but woke up while he was withdrawing money from an ATM. Now he's got an ATM involved in this whole thing, okay? Now he says that when he got back to the car, she insisted that he drive her back to the Nickelodeon. Okay. Now it's not, I woke her up and she said, oh my God, and ran away. Now it's, she woke up, he's getting money, and she's like, you're going to drive me back there. So he says that as he was driving her, he turned around and he's driving her on Davis Street in Sharon, Pennsylvania, back to the Nickelodeon like she asked. And that's when she just jumped out of the vehicle and ran away. Okay. Just screaming through the,
now comes this part.
You know how it goes. Yeah. And they asked him whether she left her purse in his vehicle. He said that he cleaned his car today and he didn't find any purse. So no. So I was cleaning shit out today, food wrappers and shit, and I didn't see a purse. So.
I'm an alcoholic. My car's a fucking mess.
I mean, I was ankle deep in beer bottles. I gotta be honest with you. Didn't look good if I got pulled over by y'all, you know what I mean? So I got rid of them. Figured I was coming to the station. Should probably clear out the rum bottle from the front seat floorboard. Things like that. So during this Captain Clarick here, he starts to question his account a little bit. Because at first it's just, tell us your story. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Then he starts asking questions. And it's not challenging questions at first. It's just trying to get him to give more details. You know what I mean? So he starts challenging it a little bit, though. He says that look, I mean, we're both guys. Yeah. You know how this is. It's like, Yeah. So he says, we're both guys. He goes, you got a pretty young girl, 22 years old. She's cute too, Tammy, isn't she? She's sitting in your car next to you.
She got a baby. She puts out.
You know that.
Yeah.
So she's sitting next to you. She's liquored up. You're liquored up. Yeah. It's late at night. Maybe you got an idea of, hey, maybe she likes me. I'm not saying you were going to jump on her, but maybe you thought, hey, you got a vibe going on. You're feeling a vibe. So he says, maybe. Is it possible that you maybe made a little advance toward her to further that, and then that caused her to flee the vehicle? Because we're having a hard time believing that she said, drive me here. You said, okay. You stopped at a stop sign, and then she screamed and ran out of the vehicle like she was on fire.
Right.
That's just
it's a bizarre story.
It's a bizarre story. Drunk or not, that's aberrant behavior.
That one's not getting 50 cents from me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not going to give you your 37 cents. I can't give it to you. Sorry at all. So he said, I didn't make any sexual advance. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, no way. He goes, I was just driving her back there. She's a married woman.
He's got
slack.
We got a gentleman here now.
A gentleman, goddammit! I'm a fucking gentleman. What are you talking about? So this Clarick here, he suggests that is that possible? He said maybe. He said, look, maybe she jumped out. Look, I'm not saying that maybe you were just like, hey, maybe me and you. I'm not saying you stuck your hand down her pants.
Right.
Maybe you made a little advance. Maybe she took it a little too, like it was a little too aggressive. Who knows? Maybe she jumped out of the vehicle. Maybe she slipped down, hit her head somewhere, hurt herself, and you got scared and maybe brought her somewhere. I mean, nothing. We're not saying you did anything wrong. We're just saying maybe you just got scared. We would understand that. Strange woman in the car with you. Right. Looks like you tried to touch her and you don't want to get. I totally understand that. So if it's an accident and that's what happened, just tell us about it. Tell us where she is, and then we can, we can work it out. Obviously, now and. that would still be a murder charge or something.
Course,
but they're going to make him sound
they're
like
walking him right into being
great.
able to tell us where the hell she is, though.
Yeah, he said no. That's
you know, every time they gave him that scenario, an opportunity to say something, the words in his head were, "I will fucking kill you.
I will fucking kill you. It's your ass."
4 different people's words of, "I will fucking maim you.
I will rip out your heart," I believe was the one that was told to me. Actually, rip it from your chest.
Right.
So, yeah.
So with those words said, no, have no clue where she is.
Nothing. So he says, no, that didn't happen. So again, they go through it again because this is what they'll do in a homicide investigation and an interrogation. They'll go over the story 50 times.
Yeah.
You'll see an interrogation, it's 8 hours long. You're like, what the fuck are they talking about for 8 hours? They're going over that same story 50 times.
Yep.
Because anytime you slip up on one detail, then that's a half hour. We're going to talk about that. So that's
any migration of this story one way or the other.
Yeah.
We got to talk.
That's it. And when you have someone that's guilty, you try to give them opportunities. They talk about it in the homicide book, the David Simon book. It's a window.
Yep.
Picture a tiny window at the upper portion of the room. That window looks so far away. You have to make that little window of escape look accessible to them. It's up there. It's tiny, but you can get through it if you just tell us what we want to hear.
Wiggle those shoulders.
And then you close it and you put them away forever. That's how it works. You slam that window shut. And
Gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha, bitch. That's exactly what it is. So it goes a little further. They go through it again. And again, every time you go through the story, it doesn't make sense. So every time you go through the story and you get to the part where she runs away for no reason, you don't know where she is. It's like, we're at a sticking point, buddy, because that's the part where it doesn't make any sense. Everything else makes sense up to that point. We believe you. He says, look, maybe it was an accident. Clark says, let me just hear me out. He says, what if it's an accident? Maybe she's drunk. Maybe she had got sick, opened the door to throw up. Maybe she fell out of the car.
There you go.
Maybe she hit her head and, maybe something like that happened.
Maybe you accidentally rolled over her.
And he said that's something. I mean, someone opens the door to throw up. They're sick. They hit their head. You're trying to do a good deed. That's not your fault. That's an accident, but we need to know where she is. Could something like that have possibly happened? And Kenneth responded, yes. So now it's a way different story now.
Oh, boy.
So now it's like, okay, this has gone from, casual conversation. Somebody close that. Rocky, close the door. Thank you. That door.
Matter of fact, stand in front of it. Would you?
Stand in front of it and stare at him.
There.
And then after a little while longer, he said that he had, quote, done something very bad.
Oh, no.
So it's at this point that because Clark seems to have this connection with him, this Captain Clark. He's the guy that got him to believe him. So he says, you want to speak to me alone? Why don't we speak alone? Let's clear the room and let's talk man to man.
Just me and you.
Me and you. So clears the room, gets the other detective out of there. Rocky away from the door.
Rocky's big ass.
One-on-one,
Rocky, you're on break.
That's it. Rocky's he's like, I was already on break. He's got half a roast beef sandwich in his mouth.
Just eat it on the porch.
A whole rigatoni stuck to his tie. It's not even a spot of sauce. It's just a whole rigatoni noodle just hanging there.
Dried and
Jesus
crusted.
Christ. Little lasagna dripping from the left side of his mouth. It's like, what? I had a snack. What do you want from me?
He ate 3 meals for lunch.
My mother made it for me. What was I supposed to do? Not eat it?
Let it go bad?
Jesus. It's like... He is from there. Yeah. So they get everybody else leaves. They're alone in the room now. So now it's time to...
Now it's going to get awkward.
It's what they call nut cutting time.
Yeah.
Now it's the real deal now.
Right.
What's going to happen here? So now they get together. Biros tells him this, and I quote, it's like you said, we were in the car together. We were out along the railroad tracks. I touched her hand. Then I went further. I either touched or felt her leg. She pushed my hand away. The car wasn't quite stopped at that point, he said. Quote, she opened the door and fell out and struck her head on the railroad tracks. That's his story. The car was still moving. She opened the door to try to get away from his light leg touching.
Yeah.
And she's drunk and the car's moving, so she fell, hit her head on the metal railroad track. Holy shit. Now she's down there now. He says this was down the railroad tracks near Kingsgrave Road in Brookfield Township, by his house.
Right.
Right by his house. That's why we gave his address there. So Yeah, this is interesting. He then signs a waiver of his Miranda rights because none of this is under oath. None of this is Mirandized.
Yeah.
None of that shit counts that he just said.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That in court, that means nothing unless he's Mirandized. So now they Miranda him and they say, want to tell us that story again? First of all, they should have Mirandized him.
Oh my God, a long time ago.
You're supposed to Mirandize someone, like the law, constitutionally, the moment they're a suspect.
Yeah.
The moment, if you bring someone in as a witness, the moment you think of them as a suspect and question them as a suspect, you have to Mirandize them. He was a suspect well before this.
Yeah.
So when he said, hey, we're going to be alone and talk about this, that should have been, I got to Mirandize you first. But he didn't, because he was trying to get the story out of him. He had to, that was the massaging that cop had to do in that situation to get this confession out of him, was to say, we need to be alone and make it a very small thing, not a on paper, it's a official thing, which is why they have Miranda. So it's a double-edged sword here.
Andy was ready to read them to him the day he found him.
Andy would have, Andy's like, you motherfucker, you have the right to remain, you son of a bitch. I will rip your fucking heart out. You listen to me, it's your ass.
That's what he says. By the end of it, the right to remain court, fucking proceedings, lawyers, all that shit. You got rights to them, or it's your ass.
Or it's your ass. Either one of them. We'll tell you what. Now it's at this point that he also has to deliver his story not only to the one guy, now also Rocky Fonts comes in too to, I guess, muscle it out of him. And Kenneth tells the police here that her body is in Pennsylvania. Says Tammy's body's in Pennsylvania. That's all he would say. Then they said, well, where in Pennsylvania? It's a big state. Could you be slightly more specific than that?
Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania?
It's far.
They may
it's
as
like,
well be France and California.
It's like 7 hours from Pittsburgh to Philly. There's a lot in there. And it's just farms. She could be anywhere. So
don't miss an exit, boys.
Amish people, we don't know what's happening. So he says at this point, no, I won't tell you exactly where. I'd like an attorney now. Now is when he lawyers up to this point. So they have to let him. They say, all right, well, we got to stop now. He calls an attorney. Attorney comes, consults with him. Okay.
Yeah.
And I assume the conversation went something like that, like this. He told the attorney what happened. The attorney nodded. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then he said, okay, listen, stupid.
Yeah. You told them fucking what?
You said you did it and you gave them the location, not an exact location, but a fucking state, and said that her quote body is there. What are you holding back for at this point? What are you fucking trying to, who cares? You dumb shit. Just tell him where the body is.
Doesn't matter now.
It can only get worse for you. I would tell him where the body is. Maybe it'll help. Literally what the attorney said.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dummy. And I only say that because he came back after talking to the attorney and said, okay, I'll tell you where the body is.
Good Lord.
So that's the attorney talked him into telling him where the body was. Now, I have to tell you, for the next little while here, there's some graphic stuff. Not really graphic in terms of like this is what happened, but graphic in terms of the result.
Oh no!
And the medical type analysis of this.
Enough
so
words to paint a good picture to get a good idea of what happened.
If you're sensitive to gory stuff as far as that goes, you won't hear a lot of like I said, like the actual this is what she felt and things like that. But just the medical cold analysis of it, then you might want to skip ahead a little bit here. But we'll get into it now. The Ohio authorities discovered several, and this is not great, several of Tammy's body parts in a wooded area, not together, just several of her parts scattered in a wooded area of Butler County, Pennsylvania on February 10th.
Just like on the ground?
Scattered around. Yeah. They also found other portions of her body. Portions in a desolate wooded area of Venango County, Pennsylvania, which is 30 miles north of where they found the other parts. Okay. So far they found 2 sections of parts that are 30 miles apart.
That's a lot.
We're talking a lot of shit here. Okay, here's where it gets bad. Tammy's head and her right breast,
oh my God,
were severed.
He took all this apart.
But left breast intact, took the right breast off and the head off. Okay, her right leg has been amputated above the knee.
That's a lot.
Head, right breast, and half a leg. That's what he decides that he's going to cut off, which is very strange. I don't know.
Specific.
It's very specific. Yeah. That's what I mean. Right side, both on the right side. I don't know what the significance of that was or whatever, but the main portion of her body that they find is completely naked, except for what appears to be the remnants of her stockings, or black stockings that were rolled down around her ankles. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay. Her torso had also been cut open. And the abdominal cavity was what the autopsy, the medical examiner, called partially eviscerated.
Just empty.
Let's see here. Her head and right breast and right leg and intestines were found in a swampy area in Ohio. They found that her leg, before it was severed, was broken over a railroad track. That's how it was broken.
Wow.
Over a railroad track. Think about that.
How do you do that? Like standing on it?
Think about that. That is fucking brutal and horrific.
So painful.
That's horrible. And the torso was found in rural Pennsylvania. And we'll find out here, a part of her liver was found in his car.
What?
In his car.
I thought he cleaned it out.
Well, they missed a spot, apparently. Wow. No purse, but I got some liver.
Those shop vacs aren't what they used to be.
No, it was 91.
Yeah.
They're good now. Forensic technicians here and law enforcement, they searched the area of the railroad tracks where he indicated that the incident started, and they discover a large area of blood-stained gravel near the tracks, which would be consistent with, fucking dismembering somebody somewhere. Blood spatters on the side of one of the steel tracks, and numerous other blood stains in the same general area. The scene just looks like...
Oh, I'm sure it was a bloodbath.
There's fucking blood everywhere.
How did he get
imagine.
into his mom's house and she not see this shit?
It's fucking... He's in the middle of the night. He comes home in the middle of the night.
Oh, my...
up.
There should be blood all over her house of him bumping into shit drunk, getting
everywhere. Yeah. Maybe he's sobered up by then. Blood stains and swabbings of blood collected at the scene were tested and found to be consistent with Tammy's blood, so we know it's definitely her. It's 91, so it's type. Shaky, but it's her. Later on, they do DNA matches and find out for sure, just so they have a solid case. They also found what appears to be part of, like I said, the part of her intestines in a swampy area near the railroad tracks. So he just took them out and just threw them, don't need those, and threw them away.
It's like he's unpacking a trunk looking for a specific pair of socks.
Yeah, exactly. Where did I put my charger?
Right.
That's what it was.
Wow.
Is it behind her liver? No. It's
unbelievable.
This guy's a piece of shit.
What was he looking for?
I don't know. DNA testing confirmed the intestines were Tammy's. Like there's other intestines just in the area. They also end up finding later on her black leather coat partially buried near the railroad tracks. So he's trying to cover that up. There were 2 cuts, what they called slash marks, on or near the collar of the coat, like she still had it on when he went after her with the knife. Her house keys and a tube of lipstick were also found in another shallow hole right near the coat. So then he buried those separately in a shallow thing right next to the coat, which is weird. One of her black leather shoes was also found in the area near the tracks. So he didn't do too good of a job hiding that. They searched his house. A number of items were recovered by police during the search of his house, including a blood-stained pocket knife, another much larger knife that's also blood-stained.
That makes more sense.
That they end up saying later on would be a consistent knife with being able to saw off a fucking leg. Type of thing. A blood-stained coat, later identified as the coat that he wore to the Nickelodeon by everyone at the Nickelodeon, and a pair of size 11 tennis shoes that we'll talk about here. Bloodstains from the pocket knife for coat were found to be Tammy's blood on there. And additionally, they found a hair embedded in a seam of near the tread of one of the tennis shoes that was tested, and it is Tammy's hair as well.
He's framed.
Yeah, obviously. Where's Mark Furman? So they also searched his car, the one he drove down to the police department. They identified several blood stains in the car. Some were consistent with her blood, and others were consistent with his blood. And also a small piece of what they later figured to be Tammy's liver was found in the trunk. In the trunk I'll just put that here for later.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is how dangerous it is to be a woman.
That's what I mean.
That is fucking crazy.
It's fucking
this
crazy.
This has never happened to a man. You know what I mean?
Rarely.
Where he's like,
rare.
No man has ever been sitting drinking with his uncle.
No woman has done this to him. No, and been taken by a woman and eviscerated. Other guys have done this.
Absolutely.
Jeffrey Dahmer did this to guys, but this is what it's like. It's that Dave Chappelle joke. That's one of the best jokes I've ever heard. When he talks about very quickly.
Texas that's raping.
No. Oh. He did a gig when he was starting out as a comic. Didn't have a lot of money, and it was for a drug dealer who paid him in cash and gave him $25,000 in cash in the 90s. Right. And then he had to go home in the fucking through bad neighborhoods and on the subway and shit DC. With $25,000 in cash on him. Right. And he said he's never been so fucking scared in his life. He was just constantly.
He's never in his life had something on him that somebody else might want.
He said he was so aware that it was on him and everybody wanted it and everybody was looking at him. He was afraid everybody was trying to steal it. And he goes, "That's what it's like to be a woman." And I went, "Whoa, holy shit. Every guy needs to hear that fucking joke because that's what every woman feels like all the fucking time." Right. That's terrible. So it's fucking
They've got
weird.
Something that everybody wants to take from them.
Guys, think about that when you're approaching a woman.
Right.
Think about they're clutching $25,000 that they're scared you're going to try to take from them because that's what they've experienced is what's going to happen to them. They've heard a lot, and I don't blame them, and I would be upset too.
And it happens. That's the other point.
That's what I mean. It's not a conspiracy theory.
It's not that they just have a crazy
thought. We're talking about it.
Right.
We have 150 episodes where 100 of them are men doing shit. Yeah.
And here's one where you meet a dude randomly that your uncle fucking knows. Yeah. And he's trying to be the nice guy, take her home. And she is turned inside out and taken apart entirely.
This is why small town murder is interesting because you wouldn't expect this.
Right.
You don't expect that your uncle's friend or your uncle set you up with a ride home from the bar of everybody knows everybody's going to eviscerate you and leave you scattered around 2 different states. You know what I'm saying? This is something that these people in this town would be like, oh man, if you go to Cleveland, they'll eviscerate you and leave you around 3 different states. That's what they think. It's a city thing, but it's not. That's the point of this show.
It's not specific to any area because this is fucking everywhere.
It's fucking everywhere. Okay, here's another gets bad for a second here. The autopsy reveals that she suffered 91 post-mortem injury, or 91 injuries indicative of a severe beating and an attempt at sexual mutilation, and 5 stab wounds that were inflicted immediately after the death. Overall, 91 injuries to her. Like we said, her head, right breast, lower extremity had been severed from her body. This is crazy, man. I'll just read it medically from the autopsy. Her anus, rectum, urinary bladder, and virtually all of her sexual organs had been removed and were never found.
What?
Her gallbladder, the right lobe of her liver, and portions of her bowels were also extracted from her body.
She may as well have been put through a wood chipper.
It's fucking ridiculous.
There's nothing left of this poor woman.
No, this is
and anything that's left of her doesn't have any dignity. He took all of it.
This is the sickness that I don't even know.
How do you even do that? That seems like it would take forever to do.
This seems like this isn't the first time he's fucking killed a woman. There's no fucking way that you go your whole life, you have one DUI, and then one day you just decide, I'm going to attack, dismember, and eviscerate a woman.
Over a 30-mile stretch.
Over a 30-mile stretch. I don't know if he does this normally with prostitutes or some other people that are less,
less searched for.
So no one will come to you and say it's your ass if I don't find her.
Right.
Shit like that. And then he was so drunk this night he couldn't control himself and was presented with the opportunity, because that's what would happen to Dahmer. Is he would know better, but he was like, fuck, I'm drunk, and it would happen. So I don't know if that's what happened to him or what it is, but they don't get into that can of worms.
This is so much.
I mean, an FBI profiler would sit down and go, there's
no way.
That's probably not the first time. I mean, it was messy and clumsy and shit, but he did try to cover it up, and he didn't. So who knows? The coroner here did not find any evidence that Tammy had been struck by an automobile, as he claimed, because he claimed maybe I hit her with my car. He was trying to make up stories, and concluded that she in fact died of asphyxia instead.
So she was strangled.
Yes. He determined that Jesus Christ, these severe beatings. The pre-mortem wounds were at least 5 blunt force injuries on the top of her head, which, according to the pathologist here, had been caused by an object such as fists or the handle of a knife. Other pre-mortem wounds were found on her breasts and in the area of her groin. So he was attacking the femaleness of her.
Right.
Other premortem wounds were found there. Two premortem knife wounds were discovered near the nipple of her right breast. Mm-hmm. That's all he attacked. Right. There were fine linear scratches and a premortem knife laceration or incised wound along the victim's face.
Oh my God.
So he did that too. Yeah, absolutely. According to the pathologist, quote, the way that is done is the blade of the knife runs down the mouth and finally gets to the skin. Right. Is what it is. He says into the soft tissues, then breaks the skin as it continues its downward direction. He said he found numerous wounds on her hands, which were defensive wounds too. So she was very much conscious and aware that this was happening. Extracted pretty much everything from her body. The pocket knife, like the one removed from his basement, could have been used to inflict some of the wounds found on her, although the much larger, heavier knife that they found had to be used to amputate her, head and leg and shit like that. And the pathologist also testified that her right femur had been severed by a sharp knife, which had left a fine linear cut in the bone. Wow. So, he cut the bone doing it there. Also, he determined that evidence indicated that the femur had not been fractured by any blunt force trauma as a result of an auto accident. Instead, he said that the knife recovered from the bathroom was consistent with the type of knife that had been used to accomplish amputations. Oh my God, Jesus. Found that the dismemberment and eviscerations all occurred within minutes after the 5 postmortem stab wounds. So he killed her, hacked her a few times, and then just immediately decided to start
went nuts.
Cutting her up. Wow. They said that the cause of death was asphyxia due to strangulation. She had been strangled over a period of 4 to 5 minutes. The mucosal lining of the esophagus was torn, indicating there was a degree of retching and vomiting during this period. So it was also the pathologist said that she had not been asphyxiated by a hand placed over her mouth and nose. It was definitely a choking. Yeah. The examination of her oral cavity revealed no signs of injury to the tongue or delicate tissue inside the mouth, which comes from that a lot of times. It's definitely strangled to death is what he thinks. He's going to be charged with some shit here. He is going to be charged with number one, aggravated murder. Yeah. That's something. Also, felonious sexual penetration, which is sounds like
that's
the worst
penetration ever.
You can't get a worse charge than that. Like as far as for like reputation goes, or just like anybody thinking of you as a human, felonious sexual penetration.
Any sort
terrible.
Of sexual crime, that's the one.
And you add felonious to it, and it sounds awful. Abuse of corpse, aggravated robbery, attempted rape. Now, these are death penalty charges.
Sure.
Because the aggravated robbery and the felonious sexual penetration are aggravators to the murder.
Sure.
So they're going for the death penalty here, which, guys, we're not huge death penalty fans, but every once in a while when you get somebody that just let Andy and the brother do it.
Yeah.
Give the Andy and the brother and the mom, she wants to rip his fucking heart out. Give them 5 minutes and turn your backs and let shit happen as it happens.
Let it be his ass.
Let it be. It's like,
Listen, if you're willing to do that to a person,
I don't care about you at that point.
You did it.
I don't give a fuck about you.
As a father, a brother.
Don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, done with you at that point.
Just as a human being.
Yeah, we don't need this guy.
If you can see that guy doing that,
we don't need this guy.
Fuck him.
He told them that he looked at her while he was doing it as more of an object than a person. That's what I mean.
We don't sincerely will do this.
We don't need that. Right. Oh, he will absolutely do. Yeah. You don't do that once and go, got that out of my system. That was crazy.
That's over.
He ends up pleading not guilty to all charges.
Yeah.
I mean,
not guilty.
I don't know.
What would you do?
State of Ohio dismisses the abuse of corpse charge prior to trial.
Okay.
I would say if there's one charge that's definitely going to stick,
that's the one.
That should be the one. But
that's not abuse?
I guess not.
What the hell constitutes abuse in Ohio?
That's what I mean. Apparently not dismemberment. Yeah. So it must be very specific.
Yeah. Or maybe they were just deciding when she was dead.
I don't know. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's not hard. It's pretty hard to live without your intestines.
And the rest in your head also. That's the other one.
Right.
So,
as soon as that's thrown away.
Yeah, it's a problem after that.
He's abusing the shit out of that corpse.
I would fucking say so. So he's being held on $250,000 bond. It's a cash bond, so that ain't happening.
No.
Yes, once they release the autopsy report too, it's not great to everybody. Now the media does not get the access they want in the pretrial shit. They want law enforcement records and things like that. And they end up voting to uphold the lower court's decision to release some but not all of the documents sought. They said there were some possible witnesses that they didn't want to contaminate and things like that. So there was a quote here: "It would allow the defendant to get information he otherwise would not get, and it would create a great deal of inflammatory, prejudicial information about the case prior to trial." So I think it's one of those, you're trying to stop them from saying that the pretrial publicity fucked up his trial. So it's basically, this is to stop an appeal. That's all that is. Let's make it so he can't appeal as much. Now he fucking challenges, in the beginning, the judge puts a cap on how much his defense team, because he has public defenders, how much they're allowed to spend on experts. That's going to be paid for by the state. They put a cap on it. So he fights to challenge the limits that he's allowed to spend on expert testimony. The public defender says he's going to continue to argue for more money, to hire experts for physical evidence and shit like that, to try to challenge.
How much money does he have?
No, but none. He doesn't have shit. This is the public defender.
Oh, so he's saying,
the state, because it has to be even. You can't say, here's a public defender, you have one lawyer that has 800 other cases, and the state has every crime lab and experts. You can't just do that. So
and state tax funds.
You can't do that. It has to be even for it to be a fair trial. So you have to give, if the state has experts, you have to give the defense experts as well. If we're going to fucking do this, and if we're going to kill people, shit has to be fair and right, or else we can't fucking do that. Because that's why a lot of people end up vindicated off of death row.
I'm on board
for that shit. So now during the trial, Kenneth testifies.
Oh, that's brave.
That's all he can do. He has to tell his side of the story. Otherwise,
because he's in a courtroom. With a fucking confession.
That's the other. And if you're a jury, you're looking at it. All you have is his words, which make him sound like and the evidence and the autopsy report, which you see and read that, and you go, "Wow, this person's a monster."
Yeah.
So you have to humanize this person. If you're his attorney, he has to testify just to go, "Look, he's not a monster. He's a human. Right. He's approachable," and that sort of shit.
He was kidding.
Yeah, he's just joshing. So he says that Tammy, on trial now, he says Tammy suddenly awoke in his car and began yelling, quote, "I don't know who you are. Where are we at?" And then she hit Biros and yelled at him. She said she just started hitting me while I'm driving and shit like that. I'm trying to drive. She's hitting me. So he said that he swung his forearm hey, stop doing that, and hit her with his forearm, to get her to stop hitting her, stop her from hitting him. He claimed that he drove along the railroad tracks to try to and then she got out of the car and ran away after he hit her. He hit her and she got out of the car, ran away toward the railroad tracks. He claims he drove along the railroad tracks to try to head Tammy off to speak with her. Like he's in his police cruiser and he's trying to get ahead of the suspect here. But he says while he was doing that, because she was drunk and swerving and it was dark out, he ended up accidentally hitting her with the car, causing her to fall over and hit her head and position her head toward the gravel rail bed there. So she fell over doing that. He says
then she exploded
everywhere. Right. So I took her 30 miles. Her intestines flew. It was crazy.
She exploded so hard her liver was in my trunk.
That's right through the trunk, and it was closed. I don't know how that happened. Very hard. So. Fucking idiot. So he testifies that he got out of the car and rolled her over onto her back. He said she was bleeding and her head was positioned against the steel rail of the railroad track there. So he said Tammy, at this point, again began pushing him and screaming and swearing and throwing rocks at him. Okay? Just, get away from me and doing all of that, because you hit her and she fell out of your car, then you hit her with a car,
right?
According to your testimony, just according to that.
So far,
whatever she's doing is fair. Okay. Right. So then he says, and this is, I don't know how you say this in a courtroom with a straight face. He says he decided to pull out his pocket knife to calm her down. Tell you what, hey guys, I know this has turned into hey guys, this is a tip for you. Hey guys, just a small tip. If a woman is ever upset, taking your knife out will never calm her down. That's going to always do the opposite. She's never going to go, oh, I feel better now.
Yeah.
A stranger who I'm scared of has a knife now. Now I feel better. Oh, good, and it's dark in the railroad, by the railroad tracks at 3 a.m. I'm feeling great.
The only light is coming from your vehicle's headlight.
This is not scary at all. No.
Not at all.
To try to calm her down. He said, however, she grabbed the knife.
Good.
She's a fucking ninja, you know?
She's smart.
And a struggle ensued. And he said that he cut his hand while this happened, while he was grabbing for it, but then he was able to regain control of the knife after that. He said, though, she continued to scream, just kept screaming and screaming and screaming. So he said that he pinned her down and put his hand over her mouth to stop her from screaming. Okay. And he said after he just held it there till she stopped struggling, but then when he removed his hand, he realized she was dead. He did like a Lenny thing. He just pet her too hard. Yeah. Like it was like Mice and Men and shit. Like, no. That's why it's important that the autopsy says she absolutely wasn't killed by the mouth. She was strangled. Right. So his story doesn't hold any fucking water here. So he said, oh my God, she's dead. What do I do? So he said he became upset and frustrated that this happened. Like, another one. Oh God, these hands. Like, it keeps happening. So he said that he was so upset and frustrated, the only thing he could do was stab her several times because he was so mad that it happened. That son of a bitch bastard stabbed.
This is a story that he's telling to a courtroom.
In court, a jury that's going to decide what to do with him. This is his story. This is his best story that he has, okay?
You know how they have me on trial for murder? That's not what happened. I murdered her.
Let me tell you, it's way worse. Let me tell you about it. Yeah, I murdered her. I didn't kill her. I murdered her good.
What the fuck is he doing?
Being a fucking idiot. So, yeah, he stabbed her several times. He says that after he had killed and stabbed her, he panicked. He didn't know what to do. He panicked and he just drove home to tend to his wounds and wash his clothes because he's like, oh, Jesus, look at me. I got blood on me. What do I do? So then he said he returned to the body. He returned to the body 15 to 20 minutes later, which that's pretty quick.
That's the fastest bloody shower I've ever heard.
It is right behind his house, but you need more than that.
A bloody shower?
Yeah.
Must take forever.
That's what I mean. Blood doesn't come off easy.
No, he's got all of her blood on him.
All of it.
I tried to get a nosebleed clean. It took me 20 minutes.
That's what I mean. This is, I don't know how you can say this in public either, this fucking idiot. He said that he returned to the body 15, 20 minutes later, and when he got there, he became very angry at Tammy. He said because he believed that Tammy had, quote, just destroyed my life.
Wow.
That's what he said in court.
She did it.
She destroyed his life. Okay. At that point, he said he took his pocket knife and began cutting on her body. He said that he removed her clothes because they were, quote, in the way.
Yeah.
He said he had no sexual desire for her. This wasn't about sexual. This was just her clothes were in the way of getting at, our body parts.
Carving her up.
Then he said he dragged her, Tammy, some distance into the woods and felt Tammy's ring cutting into his left hand. So he removed the ring and put it in his pocket, and that's how it ended up in his house. By the way, they ended up finding that in the ceiling of his house. He put that in one of his ceiling tiles.
Must have fallen out of his pocket.
He put it after his mom, after he said he was bringing it to the Nickelodeon.
Oh, he put it up there?
He hit it in the ceiling tile of in his house.
Keeping it forever.
Yeah, he was keeping it. That was his fucking souvenir.
Oh, my God.
Didn't just take it and throw it like you're skipping a stone out in the woods as far as it can go. You dumb fuck. He had to keep that. That was his thing. So he said he removed it, put it in his pocket. He said that he attempted to bury her body in a shallow hole in the ground, but that the body wouldn't fit in the hole. Yeah. Because it wasn't big enough. So normally people in the mafia, they know you dig a bigger fucking hole. Right. You don't take parts off the person. No. You dig the hole bigger. Right. Which is easier, do you think?
Moving dirt or moving bones?
Digging a slightly bigger hole or removing a human's head?
I can't imagine.
Which one would come to you first?
I can't even think about how hard that would be.
I mean, let's just say you were a grave digger and there's no coffins and your job is to bury, like it was like the 1800s and they didn't have a lot of coffins around or something. And you dig a hole, and you're like, oh shit, well, I guess I better start carving them up. Or would you be like, a little more hole?
Yeah.
Hey, Rocky, a little more hole. Jesus fucking Christ.
Unbelievable.
So he said that the body wouldn't fit, so he then amputated her head and the leg with his knife and placed those body parts in a separate hole, because, they wouldn't fit.
Right.
So he dug another hole to put them in rather than just digging a bigger fucking hole where the body was. So he's just saying that. Right. Meanwhile, he wanted to take parts off of people.
Absolutely.
That's what he was into. And he doesn't want to say, I was just fascinated with taking a fucking leg off.
He feels the shame. He knows that it's wrong.
Yeah, he knows that people look at him like this because his attorneys told him, hey, what you did is fucking beyond the fucking realm of monstrous.
Yeah.
You need to make it not so bad.
Do you understand that crazy doesn't describe how fucking crazy this is?
This is that crazy, where it's not even crazy anymore. It's just sick.
It's sick.
Sick is beyond crazy.
It's disgusting, and it's animalistic behavior that has zero place in society.
None. No.
You are never getting out of prison, sir. You realize
Let's
that.
fucking hope not.
Just say it. Just own it, because you're never getting out.
That's fucking insane. So, whatever. Just admit it here. So then he says, wow. So he says he amputated the hand and leg, a pocket knife. Oh, boy, Jesus Christ. So he said that he buried those in a separate hole. He then placed her clothes in holes in the ground. More holes, he's thinking. After burying all this, he said he returns home. He said later on Friday morning, he found her purse in his car and burned the purse in the fireplace. So he then washed his car, not very well, apparently. And then he said, but the night before, on Friday night, that night after he had helped look for the body with the relative, look for Tammy with the relatives and everything, he decided to move the body since he'd been confronted and threatened by her relatives. Yeah. He's like, oh, it's too close to my house. So later that night, while his brother was watching TV and he was, quote, watching stars, what he was really doing was retrieving her body parts, loading them into the car, and driving them to Pennsylvania to dispose of them.
Unbelievable.
In 2 separate locations is actually what he was fucking doing. He then, he lied to the police, lied to the relatives, lied to his own mother. And then at trial too, he denied telling the police department that while they were seated in the car, he placed his hand on her leg and then it went further. He said that never happened. I never said that shit. This was not sexual. This was an accident, and it was about anger. Because people they're thinking, what's going to be more sickening to the jury, anger or sexual fucking desire?
Certainly sex.
Definitely wanting to, yeah, exactly. So he denied on the stand having any sexual intentions toward Tammy, but admitted, wow, this is bad, admitted cutting out her vagina and rectum 30 to 45 minutes after he killed her. So he took the rest of her apart and then was like, I'll go in for that too.
Jesus.
It was all over. And then he's like, you know what, I'm missing this. And then went in after that. He said he's unable to remember where he put any of these things. That was... He said he remembered everything else minute to minute, but they said, well, where'd you put these organs that you cut out? And he said, I don't know.
Oh, the 2 dignity spots. Where'd you hide those?
Don't know. He also denied having any intention of stealing her property, but he admitted burying her clothes, taking the ring, and burning her purse. But he said this wasn't like I wasn't trying to rob her. I was just trying to cover up my tracks. He admitted lying to his mother about the ring and then hiding the ring in the ceiling of his house. He also testified that he had no intention to kill or harm Tammy on the night in question. Just didn't happen. He said that he never struck Tammy with his fists or the blunt end of a knife, regardless of what the pathologist says from the autopsy. So, as you can imagine, if you're a jury and you're sitting here listening to this, you pick your jaw up off the floor,
right,
and you immediately fucking convict this man of murder. Jurors do take 9 hours over a 2-day period before finally coming back with guilty of all fucking charges. They're like, is there an extra guilty?
Right.
Do we have that? Can I supersize the guilty? Possibly. Can we make this?
Sat there for 9 hours begging to make this worse.
Can we have it guilty with some stank on it? Right. Is that an official legal terminology there I could possibly have?
We would listen, Your Honor. We do not want to fill these out the way they're worded. Can we put as fuck
as
at the
fuck
end of this?
As everything? Like,
that would be nice. AF, is that fine?
Can we just put POS in parentheses next to his name whenever it appears? We want to do that.
Can we put in parentheses the worst before guilty?
Yeah, is that possible?
The worst guilty.
The worst kind of guilty.
Right.
The judge gets to sentence him. Well, I mean, the jury comes back too, but then the judge is the final decision. And as you might imagine, you, sir, may fuck off. Death sentence by lethal injection.
Good.
No one's real sad about this. Now, while in prison, he's trying to tout himself because he's got appeals coming up. He's trying to tout himself as Mr. Model Citizen. I'm a college graduate. I never did anything wrong in my life. And then all of a sudden, one night, some accidental shit happens and it gets out of control. But he has some problems in prison, too. In 1992, on May 6th, he's found to be in possession in prison of a cardboard tube that could be used used as a blowgun.
Right away.
Along with 3 darts fashioned out of toilet paper and bent staples.
Right away, James.
Right away. That's some, like, you've been in prison for a while. You're making darts out of toilet paper staples and fucking toilet paper
He's
tubes.
building blowguns.
That's crazy. He spent 10 days in disciplinary control for that. And May 28th of 92, which is 3 weeks later, he received a conduct report for having a knife made out of a piece of antenna.
Okay.
He's found not guilty of that violation somehow. October 30th, 95, he receives a conduct report for talking too long on the phone after being warned by staff. Then they did a shakedown. They go in the cells and everything and toss him. He was found with 12 packs of cigarettes and a game ticket, which are all illegal.
Yeah.
His attitude was described by this is great, by the people who, make the reports as, quote, high and mighty. And they also said he had a poor attitude.
Yeah.
High and mighty. I'm better than you people. Not really.
No.
How many people in here you think fucking have ever taken a head off of a body? Probably not many. The contraband confiscated. He received a disciplinary sentence here. Also, later on, while he's on death row, he completes the Octagon program, where he became a literacy tutor. Oh, look at him trying to get clemency. Yeah. That's what this is. He reports having tutored other inmates and helping them wherever he can. He also reports performing community service whenever he's available. Obviously, he's a fine man. He's the food delivery guy for the death row.
Yeah.
He'll bring you your food. You want food from this guy?
No,
fuck this guy. They also said he held a number of jobs within the prison system, and longest being a tutor for over 4 years. And then he was also, like I said, cart attendant for death row. So he appeals, obviously, because it's a death
thing.
Yeah, he says he appeals whether his statements to the police should have been suppressed, whether the prosecutors used of preemptory challenges to remove prospective jurors who expressed hesitation about the death penalty denied him a fair trial, and whether the omission of cumulative and gruesome photographs denied him a fair trial, and whether sufficient evidence supports his conviction for aggravated robbery.
Okay.
I don't know. You had a ring in your pocket and you killed the bitch. That's what he's thinking. I killed the bitch. I got a ring in my pocket. Guess what, motherfucker? That's aggravated robbery. Yeah. You're going the fuck away.
You got a ring in your pocket and a liver in your trunk. Yeah. It's too far.
That's in his mind. I killed the bitch. That's how I can I can fucking hear his mind saying that. I'll take the ring. What does she need it for? That's what he was thinking. So don't fucking say you didn't rob shit. Fuck you. I don't care if it's a piece of paper. Eat dicks.
You burned her purse. Where's the money?
That's what
you took that too, I'm sure.
That's what I think. That's why he said he stopped at the ATM, probably to account for cash. Maybe if they searched him and he had cash on him.
But even
I just went to the ATM.
ATMs have a paper trail and a camera on them. All that shit.
Absolutely. But at the time, though, that'll get him out of that chair. You know what I mean? That'll explain right then what it is, and then later on, I'll deal with that because this guy isn't exactly thinking ahead.
No,
we'll put it that way. He also he contends that he was denied his right against self-incrimination and a fundamentally fair trial because the trial court failed to suppress statements he made during a police interview as the prime suspect when he wasn't given Miranda warnings. That's a good point, but the rest of it is a lot. So,
but he said it again.
You don't even need his confession. No. I'm sorry, you don't. The Supreme Court also concludes that factual circumstances did not indicate that he was in custody for Miranda and for Miranda purposes, and they reject the claim on that one. The district court held that the state's court's determination was not unreasonable. He wasn't in custody. It's all voluntary. That's what it was. They kept saying repeatedly, you're free to leave anytime you want. So if he's free to leave anytime he wants, they're saying that he's not a suspect regardless of what he's saying because he's not, his freedom of movement is not impinged is what they say. So been impinged upon. Also the photos, he says he's denied a fair trial because the court improperly admitted 3 photographs depicting Tammy's severed head, her severed head held near her torso, and a severed breast, and her torso with the severed head and the severed breast replaced on the torso. That, he says that, quote, did not assist the jury in revealing the victim's cause of death. Is what he's saying. The Supreme Court says, no, it's good. As they usually do. They reject the claim on there. They say that the wounds depicted in the slides and photographs were, they were contested issues of intent, purpose, motive, cause. You needed to paint the picture for the jury.
The head was removed.
You need to see that. Although gruesome, the photographic evidence of the victim's body and body parts was highly probative, and the value of the evidence clearly outweighed the danger of unfair prejudice. Also, robbery says there's not sufficient evidence to say he robbed her, and the Supreme Court rejects that, explaining that an individual killed just prior to being robbed need not to be alive to be a victim of robbery.
Correct.
Because he's saying I didn't rob her and then kill her. I killed her and then robbed her.
Oh, boy.
So, obviously, it's not that. The appellate's intent to steal need not have preceded the murder for statutory purposes. You, sir, can keep on eating dicks and keep on waiting to get fucking injected. They set his execution date for March 20th, 2007 at 10 a.m. So let's get it on. 10 a.m. March 16th, 2007, he goes in for clemency to the governor, begging for clemency. He says he's become a religious person now, which that makes it all better then. I'm sure you're fine. Attending Catholic Mass, and he's been working with an Eastern Orthodox priest. You know, that's good for you. They can help you pray when we kill you.
Let's see if it works.
Let's see if it works. Let him pray over your body after Andy beats the life out of it. How about that? Can we have that? That'd be great. Andy and the brother and the mother all get to fucking do what they want. Then you can call the priest in to give you last rites.
Poor Andy had to sit through that fucking trial. He had to be sitting there.
Oh.
How many times did he go, it's like...
Pointing.
Throwing a flat hand at this guy. What?
No. So Kenneth's family members appeared here and spoke on his behalf. His mother, Joanne, his sister, Karen, his sister, Sherry, and his brother, Curry. I think that should be Kerry. I think so. It's called Kerry and Curry in different court documents. Okay. I'm going to go with Kerry. Since
Probably.
He is Kenneth, I'm going to go with Kenneth and Kerry, not Kenneth and Curry, like the spice, because that's how they have it spelled here.
Stuff.
Exactly. They said all these family members expressed love for him. They said that, they love him. They don't want him to die. They discussed the abusive nature of his alcoholic father and how it was negatively impacted their family. Also describes the work ethic of Kenneth, saying that, he's a great guy. He's a hard worker. They appreciate the helpfulness he always offered the family. He would give them money. He'd help around the house. He'd help his mom. Sherry, his sister, apologized to Tammy's family for their pain and suffering. They asked for consideration so that Kenneth's life would be spared and you commute him to life without parole. The victim's family gets to talk too, though.
Yeah.
That's the problem for Kenneth.
I hope Andy just said, that's your ass.
I don't see him on here. I don't know what was going on by now, but the opposition testimony, this is 2007, so this is 16 years later. We don't know if Andy's around or if Andy's decided that he's putting that behind him. So it's painful to go relive again.
He's got a 17-year-old boy at this point.
That's what I mean. He could have a son. He could have moved on and got married, had more kids, and just said, man, that's painful, and I can't revisit that, or I don't know what it is, but her sister was there, Debbie, Patricia, her mother-in-law, who is Andy's mom. So Andy's somewhat involved in this. And I don't know if Andy's still around. Something could happen to Andy. We don't know. I should have probably found that. But it would have been hard to find someone who's not a criminal.
Right.
That's the problem. It's hard to find people unless they're in jail.
Also, I don't want to find him if he is a criminal. Because right now I'm rooting for him real hard. I fucking love
Andy, man. Also, the mother-in-law of her, of Tammy, Sharon King, I'm sorry, that was Patricia Engstrom, and then Sharon King, her friend, the one that watched the baby there. They related that the family of Tammy has suffered greatly because of Kenneth. They report what a great family member Tammy was, a caring person who helped out whenever she could. They point to other relatives who've died before their time, and in part because of the grief over the loss of Tammy. Her father-in-law died of a heart attack at 59. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. I did know. Tammy's husband, Andy, died of a heart attack at 45.
Get the fuck out of here.
In the year 2005, leaving Casey an orphan. Poor Casey was only 15 years old and both his parents were gone. Jesus, Casey, poor son of a bitch, man.
Oh, my God.
Poor guy.
I hope he is the CEO of Twitter or some shit.
Man. I'm telling you, I feel bad for him.
Damn it, Casey.
That's terrible. You poor guy, man. Our hearts go out to Casey.
I am so sorry, man.
Fuck. They further state that Tammy never had an opportunity for clemency and that whatever pain and suffering the lethal injection inflicts on Kenneth would not be as great as the suffering that Tammy felt. They feel that Kenneth is, quote, an evil sociopath who should no longer walk the face of the earth. It's hard to argue. And if that he's not executed, there is no justice. Governor Strickland here, he's got his lawyer. Kenneth's lawyer says it's easy to demonize a guy that's committed a crime that's as terrible as the one Ken did. Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Thank you for making our point for you. It is easy. Let's put him in the fucking... What are we talking about?
What the fuck?
It's easy to demonize a monster. Right. It's easy. I get it.
I mean, the devil's what? The devil? I mean, what are we going to...
It's easy to say space is big. I get that. But is it really that big? That's what he's basically saying. Fuck out of here.
Dickhead.
Quote, it's very difficult to look past that mutilation, is what he said. Yeah. But he also said that Kenneth was a, quote, relatively normal Ohio citizen before the crime. Relatively normal. Hardworking, a college graduate. Quote, he said this with a straight face in front of her relatives. Quote, he's a good, decent person.
Wow. Is that what good, decent person? Is that what they do?
Whoa. Governor Strickland said, get the fuck out of here. Can we get Rocky to drag him as quickly as possible to the fucking death chamber? Fuck you. He called the crime, quote, inexcusably gruesome.
Yeah.
And fuck yourself. You're going to fucking the chair here. However, later on that day, the United States Supreme Court upholds a Court of Appeals ruling that Biros' execution should be stayed to allow him to argue his case that the Ohio lethal injection is cruel and unusual punishment. So we're going to get into that. That'll be very quick. Don't worry. Okay. He's transferred from death row to Youngstown, to the Southern Ohio Correctional Facility in Lucasville. In 2009, April 24th, the prosecutor requested an Ohio Supreme Court set an execution date after a federal judge decides on April 21st, 2009, that Ohio's method of execution is in fact flawed, but not unconstitutional. Okay. It's pretty fucked up, but we should be able to kill this one. Right. We can get him in, and then we'll worry about it. How's that? I think is what he said.
It's cruel and unusual to some people.
I mean, few.
Not to you, but you know.
So they set a date for December 8th, 2009.
For a guy whose conviction is questionable, yeah, that's cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
But yours, I mean,
it's not unconstitutional.
You took a mom apart, you dickhead.
Yeah, it's apples and I can do. So if just a quick breakdown, because we've talked about it before, it was a 3-drug system. Right. Boom, boom, boom. These drugs have become available because they're made in Europe, and they will not import them places where they're going to use them to kill people. Mm-hmm. That's the fucking thing, because they're not basically outside of Syria, China, Russia, and here, no one else executes people. Right. That's pretty much how it works. Everyone else just goes, yeah, we don't, that's probably pointless. So anyway, he is going to be he would be the first person to die of a single drug. It's a single dose of a single drug. 'Cause the other one would be, it was anesthesia, paralysis, death. This is just
fucking
all in one.
Drano.
And it takes longer.
Yahtzee.
So, yeah, it's one of those. You might as well just inject them with Windex is basically what you're doing.
Hit them with some antifreeze.
Basically what you're doing here. It's usually, like I said, 3-drug process. We
could do that. We could do a 3-drug process. Windex, Drano, antifreeze.
Yeah.
Can we do it like
that's
that?
fine.
With a guy like
with this guy.
Yeah.
Just with him, I don't care.
I just want to watch it happen.
Like I said, get him out of the way, then we'll worry about it after that. So lethal injection experts on both sides, even the people that are pro this, they say that it's thiopental sodium.
Yep.
It kills people by putting people so deeply asleep that they stop breathing. Right. But it will take longer to do. It takes longer. So the anesthesiologist who advised Ohio on its switch to the single drug had written that the death should occur in, quote, under 15 minutes. Just a fucking long time. That's bad.
Christ.
That's not great. We can't do that. We can't fucking do that.
Beating their feet until they die?
That just looks terrible. That's not good.
15 minutes.
It typically takes about 7 minutes to die on the 3 system deal. Okay. So, it's a while here.
Jesus, it takes 4 if you strangle somebody.
Yeah. Now, they're talking about this. Now, her, Tom Heiss, who is Tammy's sister, he says that it's time to put Kenneth to death. He says, quote, I'm happy it's going forward. It's just it's time for our family to have a little justice here. So I could see them thinking that. Also, the prosecutor said, quote, there shouldn't be any more obstruction on this one. Her sister, Tammy's sister, said, quote, it has destroyed me. It hurts a lot. And she also said, we really need this to be brought to justice after 17 years. This time we know it's going to be done. Tammy needs to rest in peace. December 8th, 2009, execution day. Yeah. His execution's originally scheduled for 10 a.m., but they push it back to 11. It's a little Hollywood, we're going to push it back a little.
Right.
Everyone's not here. We're going to push it back. Cool. Is that all right? We're trying to get everybody seated. So
there's still 7 people at the bar.
Yeah. There's still people at the bar. So in the last night and was that morning, the night before and that morning, Kenneth Biros drinks a lot of water, drank 12 cups of water, hoping that he was hydrated so the executioners could access his veins better.
Oh,
that's what he was trying to do.
A favor?
Final meal.
Yeah.
Last meal, Jimmy.
Boy.
It's been a while. He gets, at least it's not something awful.
It good?
Cheese pizza, onion rings, fried mushrooms, chips with French onion dip, cherry pie, blueberry ice cream, and a Dr. Pepper.
None of that goes together.
None of it goes. It's just, I like this stuff.
Right.
Put it in a big thing.
That's why do that? I don't
know.
get it.
I mean, maybe put the chips on the pizza.
If
I'm
you're
not
gonna
sure.
do like a steak and lobster,
some shit that goes together, not just
a hodgepodge,
random hodgepodge of crap.
Bizarre.
Yeah, I don't.
You're just like having a vending machine of hot food.
Just whatever you got. Just put it on the plate.
It's not a dinner.
They bring him in for his last words are, quote, "I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank all my family and friends for my prayers and who have supported and believed in me. My father, now I'm being, not my father, like talking about my father, like God. Now I'm being paroled to heaven." Is what he said.
Okay.
"I will now spend all of my holidays with my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ." Well, he's got Christmas with Jesus, so it's fine. "Peace be with you all. Amen." That's what he said.
I feel like that's
someone
just
should have said, "Does her brother want to come and just punch him in the face before we start? Just come up and just fucking drill him once, because the fucking asshole."
He's clearly aiming at anybody that's religious in the room and trying for soft spots,
he's
right?
trying for just, I'm going to be pious about it, and that's what it is.
Fuck you, man.
A white scarf was laid next to him at his request, apparently a symbol of Buddhism, one of the faiths that he observed. He's into multiple faiths.
Oh, boy.
He also had 2 small Eastern Orthodox religious pictures lying on his chest, tucked inside the strap that holds him down to the table.
What the fuck is this?
To make him, I don't know what he's fucking doing.
Making himself a martyr?
The execution team struggled to put shunts in his arms to inject the drugs. He grimaced, and it took about 30 minutes of pricking him at least a half dozen times to find a usable vein.
Oh, my God.
So he must know his veins suck or something. The attorney for Biros, who witnessed the execution, says he counted 9 attempts to find a usable vein. Wow.
Holy shit.
That's a lot. That's fucking up, man. Jesus Christ.
That's brutal. I hate that this happens.
Guy on the first day. Can we get somebody who knows how to inject people?
When this happens to like people that their conviction
is... Get a junkie. They would have found go out in front of the courthouse, find the first fucking junkie you see walking by. He knows how to find it. You think his veins are good? No, but he finds them.
Yeah.
Bring him in there. He'd be like, no problem. There you go. And he's out. 10 seconds. Fucking gone.
But I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Sorry about that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Jesus Christ.
It's just when there's somebody whose conviction is questionable, you feel bad when they go over and over and again and can't find a vein.
Yeah.
And then the people, they have to take them out back to their cell because they can't. And then you go, you know what? Give that guy clemency.
Give him a pass. Life without.
He just beat death.
Life without.
But this guy... Keep stabbing him.
Kill him that way. I don't give a shit. That's what I mean. Stab him so many times that he bleeds to death out of tiny little holes, like in a cartoon, where he drinks a glass of water and it all shoots out of him.
Everywhere.
That's what I want for this fucking guy. Jesus Christ. So 9 attempts, and his attorney does say, quote, "Once the drugs started flowing, I think it went well, but very much have concerns with the IV access." Now, the prosecutor, or one of the prison officials, said that it's ridiculous to say that anything went wrong finding a vein. He said, "People who like to put time limits on my team, it's not an acceptable practice. I see no problem in any form or fashion with what my team did today. We fucking killed a guy, goddammit. Is he fucking dead? Mission accomplished." It's like, I mean, right? Look at him.
I hope that team of doctors, before they go in there, they go, "All right, guys, let's go kill it.
Let's go kill it. We're killing it." So, right when he's pronounced dead, Tammy's family bursts into applause.
Oh, wow.
And Debbie, her sister, says the moments were drawn for the coroner to, do his thing. They drew the curtains back again. Debbie said, quote, "Rock on. That was too easy." Rock on. That was too easy.
That's a gal that spends time in a Midwest
Giving
bar.
her some horns. Good for you, Dad. You have a right to, you have a fucking, by the way, her name is DEBI. So they named TAMI, DEBI. They like the I thing in that family.
So, a girl that was raised in a bar.
Yeah.
I like her.
That's, well, the mother works. Yeah, that's what I mean. Now, Biros is the first person executed by that lethal injection with the single drug in the United States. He is in the Guinness Book of World Records.
What?
Actually setting a Guinness World Record for being the first person executed with the use of a single drug.
Congratulations, Dickweed.
Guinness World Record. Fuck you, asshole. Kenneth Biros is dead. Watch the dwarves dance around. I don't know. Ding dong, the dick is dead.
I feel so bad for Andy. Andy lost the love of his life and
then died
Casey
at 45.
Yeah.
And you know that has to be part of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what his diet was like or shit, but I mean, that had to take...
That kind of tragedy forces you to live a life of
heartbreak.
Unhealth.
Yeah. And also... having a 1-year-old son and having your wife killed and all that would take 20 years off of your life just already, in your off of
you're
your
not
organ.
Living past 60 anyway.
You're not going to look the same when that's over. 6 months later you're going to look like you're 33 if you're 22 at that point, because it's just horrible and horrific. And that's our show for the day. That is Kenneth Biros and poor Tammy Angstrom, and that is Brookfield Township, Ohio. If you like that show, please let us know about it. Tell us about it. Get on iTunes, that purple app icon. Yeah. Fucking podcast app, Apple Podcast bullshit. Get on there and give us 5 stars. I know it takes 30 seconds to sign in. It's a pain. You're like, oh man, I got to sign in. You know how long this took to put together? It's not that bad. No. Sign in, give us a review. Doesn't matter. It helps drive us up the charts. Help your boys out over here. Do that though. It really helps. Doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions. Like I said, say it's dark in here. They won't let me out until I'm done. Yeah. It doesn't matter. We don't care. It's just for business purposes. So thank you to everybody that has done that, and we'll do that in the future. Also, head to shutupandgivememurder.com, where you can get all of your small town murder and crime and sports needs. And please listen to Crime and Sports. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing. Good God, you're going to like it. If you like this, you will like that. Yeah. It's just us talking shit. Yeah. It's the same thing.
Go
with a
find
story
out why
involved.
Lenny Dykstra loves us.
That's what I mean. Find out. Listen to some murders. Listen to Mark Rogowski. Listen to the Levins from a week before that. Listen. There's so many crazy stories. Listen to these stories. It'll get you hooked, and then you'll want to hear them all and find out why being a junior is bad. So
it's a terrible thing.
It is a terrible thing. Listen to that. Check that. Go to the website. You can get all your merchandise. Also, tickets to our live shows. Yeah. Salt Lake City and Denver are sold out in early February. But February 15th, we will be in Indianapolis at the Egyptian. February 16th, we'll be in Louisville at the, Baumhard? That doesn't sound great. Baumhard Theater there. And also May 13th and 14th, San Francisco, both at Cobb's Comedy Theater. And that is a 2 late night shows. Right. A Friday and Saturday night late night. Come hang with
club.
us.
Boy, is it
great fun. Club. Going to be real fun at night. Come down there, hang out, get some drinks and shit beforehand, go out to dinner, do that, go out, party afterwards.
Let's party.
Let's do that. And then later on then in that month, we'll be in Detroit and Cincinnati, and then everything else for the rest of the tour. But we won't worry about that right now. Check all those out. But if you are... One thing I will say, Portland, that second show is selling really fast. Yeah. Get your tickets because it's almost gone.
You better figure that out.
And Seattle, there's only a few tickets left, I know, and they're like singles. I don't even know if they have pairs left. So get on that right now. Get those tickets there. If you want to be, also follow us on social media. Damn it. Follow us on social media. You can do that on Twitter at Murder Small, on Facebook at Small Town Pod, and on Instagram at Small Town Murder. Follow us there so you can get all the newest updates on things. First of all, we have... when new products come out or stuff like that, but also we have when we release new tour dates, because there's a couple they're still working on in here. So if there's a new tour date or if a sold out show has, they found 20 tickets that they were holding as comps or something that they decide to release, we say that on social media and those people know it first. So don't wait till you hear it on the show. Do that and follow us there. If you want to be a hero of ours, like we've talked about, these people are our heroes. We say they're our producers. We don't say that to be full of shit. They are our producers. They're the people we look at as the driving force of the show. And we cannot thank them enough. If you want to be one of our producers who we're going to talk about and gush about in just a minute here, you can do that so easily by going to patreon.com/crimeandsports, or you can just head over to PayPal and use our email address, which is crimeandsports@gmail.com. And you can do that. And Jimmy, I can't wait any longer. Yeah. I can't. I need to, after that episode with all that, that research all about it was a lot. It was just it's a lot to read over and over again and experience. So I need to hear good things now. Tell me about the best people in the world. Hit me with it, Jimmy.
This week's executive producers are Megan Campbell, Jay McFarland, John Jackson, Ellie Kamek. She's from Dallas, and we didn't get to see her when we were down there, and it bummed me out.
Maybe next time.
Miss you, Ellie. Carrie Gines, or Gines. It's probably Gines, right? It's
yeah.
not Gines. Nobody's last name is Gines.
I hope not.
Yeah. Tanya Volanek, Nancy Graham,
Sorry.
Jordan Bennett.
Thank you, is what we're meaning to say.
Amanda Rutherford, Aaron Cox, and Brittany Helm. Thank you guys so much. You don't know what you do for us.
You guys are the best.
You got
honestly.
me to urgent care this week, and I fucking...
Jimmy's sick. He's sipping tea over here. He's a disaster.
Mess. Other producers this week are Laura Edwards, Alejandra Flores, Michael Kogut, Crystal Weiss Omrachik. Yep. Kelsey Lynn Lewis, Glenn Ely, Jamie Martin Schnell. I don't know if she's related to Steve. Possibly.
Well, either way, we like Steve, so hopefully.
Boston Van Landingham Gore, Lucy Stacy, Jen Wallace, Waffletosis. That's not somebody's name. I'm sure that's not a disease.
It's like a joke rap name.
Yeah, or it's a joke about when like the things, you know what I mean.
Waffleitis?
Yeah, like bluewaffle.com is a gross thing that people I'm sure it has something to do with that. Whatever. Nicola Mastrantonio, Zach with no last name, Tabitha no last name, Kelsey Bradley, Jill Fry, Katie Garot, JaCrispy Smith, probably not. Maybe. Who knows? JaCrispy.
I like that.
Chelsea Lene Morgan, Rachel San Marco, Brendan Stratton, Colleen Christian, Chow Mein Jane. I hope that's a restaurant.
That's awesome.
Connor Stein, Sarah Gray, Christian Manguia, Shelby Atkins, Christine Cordoza, Ryan Wallum, Alan with no last name, Heather Wellnitz, Lindsay Newton, Josh Buchanan, Kim Layer, Jordan Martin, Laura Mitchich, Lisa Dawkins. I think that's Dawkins. Pretty sure. Mary Greats, James Hansen, Courtney Yearout, Candace French, Wallace Schneider, Rachel Dean, Connor Storley, Kyle Tehan, Amanda Rutherford. I think I said that up top. No, that was Megan. No, it was Amanda. Damn it. She donated both ways. I'm sorry.
There we go.
Kelly Walsh, Kyle King, Sarah Anderson, Corinne Jones, Steph the Green, I think, Leslie Todd, Lindsay Kay, Sarah Chulsky, yes, Joanna James, John Ellis, Sam Harvey, Brooke Reeves, Faith McBoyd, Ann Jones, Marty Zero, Michael Lapham, Tracy Jacobs, Brian, God damn it, I'm trying to keep this light on, Brian Johnson, not of AC/DC, Madeline Holloman, Brandon Ayers, Brenda Moreno, Keith Christie, Nikki Mayoni, Marion Moss, that's her name, Jeremy Ebert, Allison Morrison, Amy Schultz, Drip Dry, probably not, Rachel Trzynski, Cherie Velez, that's one of my favorite last names.
That's a good one.
Nancy Thompson, Laura Looney, Amy Schultz, did I say that? I did. Tanner Ireland, Mary Schneider, I think I already said that. God damn it, what am I doing? Seth Parker, Logan Francis, Michelle Fournier, Jason Lunsford. Oh, my throat. God damn it. This is brutal, man. I'm telling you. Caitlin.
We love you guys. We have to.
Caitlin Terwilliger. She lives in Herndon from the episode of Small Town. Yeah. Kaipon Visp. Jeff Rash. And he is everyone is an expert pod. Dale Asburn. Ethan Williams. Avriel Pitch. Alexandria Frazier. Tracy Henson. Sydney Barnhard. Steve Schnell. There he is. Ashley VO. Janice Hill again. Thank you. Daniel Kajesarud, I think. Kimberly with no last name. John Herndon and Chrissy at Thunderbird in Indy. I think that's true. Jessica Christensen and her daughter Joey. And then her husband, I forgot her husband's last name, but they came to the show in, I forget where. God damn it. And I have a letter from Joey for you. I forget where they're at, but they're wonderful people. Rosa Luan, Jackie Sukup, Jordan Bish White. I think that Bush White. God damn it. Patrick Keller, Caleb Laughlin, Jude Kendall, Kelsey Graves, Jennifer Flores, Talena Jensen, Adam Udaney, Brittany Dacey, Bo Bradley, Debbie Chapman, Krista Walker, James Aselta, Thomas Smith, Alice Daly, Stephen Rude, Angelina Heaver, Kendra Smith, Robin Anderson, Tara O'Neill, Joanna Ahern, Seppi Montero, I think, Montardo. Montardo. I think that's right.
Okay.
Reagan Shockley, Susanna Platt, Rebecca Filaggi. It's an Italian one. Filaggi.
What's the spelling?
Filiaggi?
You're looking at me. I don't know how you would
You should know
this.
just from my stupid pronunciation.
From your 8 different pronunciations, I should know how to spell it.
Liz Vasquez, Jesse Hartman, Jenny Mort, Claire Havey, Courtney Chenier, James Jimmie Houseman, Maggie O'Neill, Kelly Higby, Caleb Farley went to Chad Curtis Diddle High. He went to that high school. Todd
That's
Purley,
amazing.
Lauren Demarath, James Martyr, Peyton Meadows, and all of our Patreon supporters. You guys really changed our lives and make this all worth it. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for everything.
Yeah.
Honestly, we just appreciate the hell out of it, and we can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for all that you do for us. Jimmie, what if they wanted to, well, they could thank you, they could say they hate you, they could say they love you. What if they wanted to just get a hold of you? How could they do it?
Whatever words you got there, and go to, I was going to give our website.
Our website? Go to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Go over there, that's fine.
It's fine.
At Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. If they want to find you, James, it's fucking difficult.
You can find me.
Because you've gone ahead and taken one of the most difficult names ever to chase fame with. What is it?
It's that's why on Twitter it's at Jimmie P is funny, so we'll make it easy for everybody. Or you can just copy and paste my name from the show description, because it is a horrible name to spell and a really stupid name to go into showbiz with. But I'm an idiot, so this is what I've chosen to do. Definitely do that. Send me whatever you want. Say hello, and we're all very happy. Show ideas, though, please send those to the crimeandsports@gmail.com, because I'll lose them otherwise. They need to be collected from there. With that said, everybody, we cannot wait to keep coming back each and every week. We just signed a new 2-year deal with our network, so we have no choice but to be here every single week. You are stuck with us again and again and again. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure. If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.